Chapter 2572. Then what are you going to do now? If Plan A doesn't work, you must have Plan B, right? Tang Zhou said. If you need my help, just let me know. Su Yun shook his head. It's useless. I believe the enemy already knows that we found out about the GPS in the car. They'll definitely find another way. I need to get back to Qingdao as soon as possible. Tang Zhou said, I said you were busy, but you're really too busy. I thought you would stay here for a few more days since you're back. I haven't solved the problem yet. I can't enjoy myself enough. Su Yun said, it's not too late to rest after you're done. If you want to take a break, you can take Uncle Tang to Qingdao for a few days. Tang Zhou shook his head. Looking at your current situation, I don't think you'll have time to take care of me even if I'm there. I'll pass. Then I'll call you when I'm done, Su Yun said. When you're done, I'll have to go back to work. There's a reason I'm taking a break, Tang Zhou said. I have important things to deal with in a few days. Su Yun smiled. You said I'm a busy man. I think you're the one who's really busy. President Tang, I won't hold you back from making money. Are you laughing at me? Tang Zhou said. You're the big boss of Sky Entertainment. A movie you make can sell for more than $1 billion. The movie market is so hot right now. You people in the entertainment industry are really making a fortune in silence. Su Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. That's all thanks to Ruan Qingshuang and Zhua Meiyan. I'm just following them around and doing odd jobs. Excessive modesty is arrogance. Can I interpret your behavior as arrogance? Tang Zhou said, how many people are jealous of you? You have such a big entertainment company and 2 beautiful women helping you. Aren't you a little too lucky? That's right, Su Yun said. I don't even know my surname anymore. Tang Zhou pouted. That's not good. I have to remind you that your surname is Su. Let's go. I'll take you home. It's already so late. Don't make Uncle Tang worry. Su Yun said embarrassedly, if you don't go back, he won't be able to sleep well tonight. Tang Zhou laughed. That's right. If she didn't go back, her father would probably go crazy. I only had some drinks at the bar. It wasn't enough. Come home with me for a drink? I'm happy to oblige. Su Yun said, I'll take your wine and offer it to you. Thank you for doing me such a big favor today. Tang Zhou asked, where are you staying in Hadong? In the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel? I just came back this afternoon. After I came back, I went straight to Chong's house to take a look, Su Yun said. Then, I tested the car and you called me. Then you don't have to stay in a hotel. Just stay at my place for the night, Tang Zhou said. Su Yun was a little embarrassed. How can I do that? Uncle Tang and the others are all here. If you ask me to stay at your place for the night, that's not very appropriate. You're thinking too much. I have a lot of rooms at home. My dad won't mind a guest like you sleeping on an extra bed, Tang Zhou said. What are you thinking? I'm relieved to hear that, Su Yun joked. Tang Zhou rolled his eyes at Su Yun. You're the classic example of taking advantage of someone else. Su Yun's plan this time had failed. He hadn't been able to lure the snake out of its hole and even exposed his current situation. If he hadn't arranged for Jie Su to protect Jiang Zixue, he would have rushed back to Qingdao already. Now that Jie Su was keeping an eye on things, Su Yun could finally relax. At the very least, he would not be leaving today. If he were to leave, Chong Zi and the others would definitely think that something had happened. They would definitely follow him back. They hadn't gone home to talk to their parents in a long time. Su Yun didn't want to ruin their opportunity. Su Yun followed Tang Zhou back home unhurriedly. Tang Zhengtian saw that the 2 of them had returned in one piece and went to rest at ease. Young people were always energetic. Tang Zhou and Su Yun sat in front of the bar. They drank some wine and chatted about what they had been busy with recently. The atmosphere was very relaxing. At least, Su Yun felt that after chatting with Tang Zhou, his whole body and mind relaxed. It was very comfortable. A little wine was good for the mood, but a lot of wine was bad for the body. Both of them had a high tolerance for alcohol, so they didn't drink much. After a few drinks, they went back to their rooms to rest. Tang Zhou was still quite excited. Although she didn't succeed today, she was able to do something so exciting for Su Yun. It would be unforgettable for her for the rest of her life. Because they were staying at Tang Zhou's house, Su Yun didn't have the nerve to sleep in. He got up early in the morning. Tang Zhengtian also got up early and was practicing Tai Chi in the yard. Su Yun also practiced with Tang Zhengtian for a while. Waking up early in the morning always made people feel refreshed. Su Yun only felt that his whole body was comfortable now. After the two of them practiced Tai Chi, Tang Zhou had already prepared breakfast for them. It was simple and nutritious. It was all low cholesterol and low-calorie food. It was obvious that Tang Zhengtian paid a lot of attention to maintaining his health. You might not be used to eating at my house, but there's no other way. This is all the old people can eat now, Tang Zhou said. However, if you stay here for a few more days, I'm sure you'll get used to it. For example, I'm already very used to it now. Su Yun, that's pretty good. I like to eat healthy things like this. Why? You don't like it? Come on, young people don't like to eat these things. Tang Zhou pouted. Steaming carrots and steaming yams so early in the morning. These things were really tasteless. Tang Zhengtian said, these things are naturally healthy. It's many times better than eating those unhealthy things. If you want to eat, you have to eat healthy. Su Yun, although I also like a bowl of hot mutton soup early in the morning, if there's a choice of healthy food, I'll still choose healthy food. Come on, I don't believe you. You only know how to make my dad happy. Tang Zhou said, I shouldn't have kept you in our house. Hurry up and leave after breakfast. If you leave, my dad will use you as a positive example again. Su Yun, don't, you're already asking me to leave. Don't listen to her. Su Yun, you can stay here for as long as you want, Tang Zhengtian said. I welcome you. If she wants to leave, let her go. Ha 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 ha. Dad, you've learned bad things. Tang Zhou was speechless. I'm actually speechless. You actually chased your own daughter away just to keep him? Then you're going to be disappointed. He's leaving today. Tang Zhengtian was stunned. He's leaving so soon? Stay for a few more days. Although young people have to focus on their careers, sometimes they have to balance work and rest. Su Yun only smiled and nodded. He agreed with Tang Zhengtian's words. Do you know why we need to have 2 days of rest every week? It's to strike a balance between work and rest, so that our brain can be in a relaxed state. Otherwise, it will be overdrawn. Tang Zhengtian said, you should rest well. Su Yun said seriously, I'll remember Uncle Tang's words. It's just that the recent matters were entrusted to me by a very important person. If I don't do a good job, I'll betray their trust in me. Tang Zhengtian nodded. It's very important for a man to have a sense of responsibility. Since that's the case, then you should handle it well. When you're free, come find me. I'll teach you a set of exercises. Tang Zhou was speechless. This exercise was completely targeted at the elderly. Her dad had already taught it to her before she came. She really didn't expect that she would have to teach Su Yun this time. She was quite helpless. You should just eat. Don't make fun of your old people's pleasure exercise. Hurry up, it's going to get cold if you don't eat. Chapter 2573. After saying goodbye to Tang Zhengtian and Tang Zhou, Su Yun contacted Chong and the others. Due to Uncle Chen's warm invitation, they only left after lunch. Su Yun and Chong's return this time allowed old Chen to establish a high prestige in the neighborhood. Old man Wang, who usually liked to flaunt his prowess, also kept a low profile in the future. There was always someone better than you. His son had been in Yanjing for so many years, but he still couldn't catch up to Chong's 1 or 2 years in Xinjiang. However, this would only make old man Wang lose some face. In his heart, he would still think that his son was the most outstanding person. Even the neighborhood security guards, the leaders of the property management department, and the staff had a qualitative change in their attitude towards Uncle Chen. After all, they were people from the slums. It was a habit for them to live frugally. Therefore, they liked to save money in everything they did. As a result, people thought that old Chen's family was poor. However, her son drove home in a Ferrari. Those who didn't know would definitely be shocked to the point that their internal organs were all over the place. Everyone knew that such a 5 million yuan luxury car would cost more than 100,000 yuan a year. Therefore, even the property manager bowed to the Chen couple. After returning to Qingdao, Su Yun's mood wasn't particularly good. After all, he was very unhappy that the matter hadn't been resolved. The danger was still a ball of fog. He couldn't see clearly at all. No one was in a good mood. While Su Yun was away, Jie Ji carried out the task assigned to him by Su Yun very well. When Su Yun returned, he curiously asked Su Yun, "Why did you protect her?" Su Yun was stunned. "Sky Entertainment is about to sign her. I don't want anything to happen to her." "It's not that simple. Sky Entertainment has so many artists. Why did you only protect her?" Jie Ji said, "Her identity isn't ordinary. If you're so curious, you can go and find out." "Su Yun, if you can find out her identity, I'll really thank you." Jie Ji was shocked. "You don't know? Then why are you still doing this?" "Some things are called friends, so don't ask too much," Su Yun said. "Just do your job. As for the rest, I'll take care of it myself." Jie Faker said, "So you're saying that I can go back to my job?" Su Yun nodded. "I can give you a clue," Jie Fei said. "This might be the only thing I can help you with." Su Yun was stunned. He looked at Jie Su, not quite understanding what Jie Su meant. Jiang Zixue has a tattoo on the lower left side of her neck. It's a picture of 7 stars. "It's called the 7 Stars Radiance," Jie Su said. Su Yun's interest was piqued by Jie Faker's words. He asked, "What else do you know?" "I also know that the 7-star tattoo was inherited by 7 very large and ancient family members," Jie Fu said, "especially the tattoo on Jiang Zixue's body. In the pattern of the 7 stars, the color of the star in the center is different from the rest." "What does that mean?" Su Yun said. He had also heard a little about the heptagram tattoo, but it was really just rumors. He did not know the details at all. "It means that Jiang Zixue's family is the star in the center. Their family is the largest among the 7 families in the 7 stars radiance. They are also the leader." Jie Su said, "That's all I know." That was far from enough. "Tell me everything you know. Don't hide anything from me." Su Yun said, "I want to know everything." Jie Su said, "I've said it before. That's all I know. If you want to know more, you'll have to find a way to investigate it. If you need me, I'll help you." "Where did you hear about it?" Su Yun asked. Jie Su frowned and thought for a moment. "About 2 years ago, an elder from a family in the 7 stars radiance contacted us. He needed our help. At the time, Can Kong and Gu Li were on a mission. Chui Li took me to see that person. At the time, I saw that person had the same tattoo on the lower left side of his neck. The only difference was that the color of the star was different. It was not in the center but surrounded by the side." After a pause, Jie Su continued, "I was very curious at the time, so I asked Chui Li. Chui Li told me all this." Although Su Yun did not have a good impression of Chui Li, he had to admit that Chui Li was definitely someone who knew a lot of things. At the very least, he was very knowledgeable about the underground world. Otherwise, he would not have reached such a peak. "What happened after that? What did that clan's elder ask you to do for him?" Su Yun continued to ask. "As for what he wanted us to do, I don't know. When they were discussing it, I was not allowed to enter the room." Jie Su said, "Chui Li never mentioned it after that." "Then you should remember what you did, right?" Su Yun asked. Jie Su shook his head. "We didn't do anything." "You didn't do anything? Then it was a waste of time to discuss it?" Su Yun was a little surprised. "We really didn't do anything. The discussion didn't seem to be successful." Jesu expressed his regret. There was nothing after that. It was like a stone sinking into the sea. Su-yun took a deep breath. It was such a pity that Chui Li died. If Chui Li was still alive, Su-yun would have another source of information. Su-yun felt that Zhuolangyue should know about this. What was up with the 7 Stars Radiance, a group formed by 7 big families? When I saw Jiang Zishue's tattoo, I knew that the big trouble you were talking about was indeed big trouble. Jesu asked, "What do you plan to do?" "I don't know." Su-yun said, "I can only take one step at a time." Jesu was still curious about one thing. What kind of friend entrusted you with such a troublesome matter? Why did you have to accept it? The Empress, Su-yun replied. Jesu gasped. The Empress, Zhuolangyue. Once again, Su-yun made him feel that he was much more mysterious. Not only was he a special character in Hua Xia's Dragon Brigade, but he was also friends with the Empress, one of the 3 kings of the underground world. After being shocked, Jesu finally calmed down. If the Empress wanted to protect someone, she just needed to bring that person along with her, right? Jesu said, "Why did she have to entrust it to you? It felt more dangerous to entrust it to you." "I don't know about that," Su-yun continued, "but since she chose to do this, she must have her reasons." Jesu nodded his head. What Ran Baqian said was right. No one would dare to ask about the Empress's matters. As for what the Empress is thinking, it's impossible for anyone to guess. Jesu, thank you for telling me all this today, Su-yun said. What I told you is meaningless. Jesu said, "You don't have to thank me. I don't think I helped you at all." Even though these words were meaningless, it gave Su-yun a general idea. At least, Su-yun knew about Jiang Zishue's mysterious identity. As for what Su-yun wanted to do next, they could only wait and see. Chapter 2574. After Jerry left, Su-yun sat in his office for a long time. It was already very late, but he still had no intention of leaving. Of course, other than this matter that gave him a headache, there was another good thing. Lin Ge had spoken to him on the phone and soon flew back from Japan. Su-yun told him to wait for him at the company. After all, the company was closer to Lin Ge and Feng Ya's house. Otherwise, Lin Ge would definitely go to his house to look for him. Lin Ge and Xie Fei's had worked hard to destroy the Sakura group in Japan, so Su-yun was more considerate of them. Also, the road back to the company was more smooth and there was not much traffic. Coincidentally, Zhuo Meiyan and Ruan Qingshuang were going to hold a meeting with all the middle-level leaders and above today. It was not clear when the meeting would end. Su-yun was supposed to attend this meeting, but he was not in a good state after returning from Hadong, so Zhuo Meiyan did not let him attend. Shi and Ruan Qingshuang were enough. Therefore, no one disturbed Su-yun. Su-yun was alone in his office, his mind filled with the words Big Dipper Radiance. Because of this, he even called Ma Saner to ask him about the Big Dipper Radiance. Ma Saner's answer to Su-yun was simple. I only know that there are 7 big families, and each one is more powerful than the other. About 20 years ago, the 7 families of the Big Dipper Radiance had a falling out because of interests. As for what happened after that, I'm afraid that other than the elders and their families, no one else knows. Do you know who these 7 families are? Su-yun continued to ask. Ma Saner shook his head. I only know that the biggest family should be the Jiang family. As for the rest, I'm not sure. As for the Jiang family, I've heard of people whose names can be traced back to 3 generations ago. The Big Dipper Radiance split up just because of interests. Su-yun asked. At least, that's what they announced to the outside world. Ma Saner said, I'll say the same thing again. As for why, only their own people know. After all, it's a big family. How could they not have any secrets? If I can't even find out from you, then who else can I ask? Su-yun felt a little helpless. Ma Saner laughed. You think too highly of me. How old am I? I wasn't even born when 7 Star Radiance and the others ran amok in the underground world. If you really want to know more, you should look for an elder. His words made sense. At least the people of my father's generation would know better. Ma Saner said, after all, I'm not in the mood to care about the past. There's no point in caring about the past. How can you say that it's meaningless? I think it's quite meaningful. Su Yun, you should really do your homework. Ma Saner didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Other than you, who else would ask me about the past? What I want to know has to be something that can be sold for money. It has to be meaningful. Su Yun didn't chat with Ma Saner anymore. After chatting for a bit, he hung up. After hanging up, Su Yun continued to sit on the sofa in a daze. 7-star radiance. 7-star radiance. Why didn't Jiang Zixue mention anything about her family? After Lin Ge got off the plane, he immediately rushed back to see Su Yun. When he walked to the entrance of Sky Entertainment Group, he was stunned when he saw the unfamiliar face of Jie Wan. An expert was an expert, after all. Jie Wan came from a place like Sky Eye. Naturally, he had a special aura. Lin Ge could also feel this aura. Who are you? Lin Ge asked cautiously. He felt that this guy looked familiar. Jie Wan said indifferently, I'm a security guard. I'm new. This person had a dangerous aura that made Lin Ge very uncomfortable. Who interviewed you? Sky Entertainment is hiring again. How come I didn't know? Please show me your identification. Jie Wan blocked Lin Ge's way. Lin Ge didn't know whether to laugh or cry. A newcomer was a newcomer. He even dared to block his way. Do you know who I am? I don't. Jie Faker said, as long as you have a pass, anyone can enter. If you don't have a pass, no one can enter. Brother, whether you know who I am or not, I don't feel comfortable looking at you. It's fine if you don't tell me who hired you. Lin Ge said, I'll ask the HR department to fire you right now. Jie Wan didn't care. If you want, you can do whatever you want. Now, show me your identification. Okay, you're competent enough. Lin Ge said helplessly, okay, here's your identification. I'm really curious. I'll definitely ask the HR department about you. Thank you for your concern. Jie Wan only let Lin Ge in after confirming that there was no problem with his ID. Before Lin Ge left, he muttered, after I find out who hired you, I'll deal with all of you together. Jie Wan, who didn't like to talk, said, I was hired by CEO Su. My name is Su Yun, CEO Su. What? Lin Ge turned around. Brother, are you joking with me? No. Jie Wan said, my name is Jie Wan. CEO Su is in his office. If you don't believe me, you can ask him yourself. Lin Ge quickened his pace. Don't think I don't dare to ask. Just you wait. If you lie to me, I won't let you go. As he said that, Lin Ge suddenly stopped and turned around. It's you. The two of them had met once in Taiwan. However, because Jie Wan didn't talk to him and kept a low profile, Lin Ge didn't have much of an impression of him. Therefore, Lin Ge only felt that he looked familiar. He didn't expect this guy to be Jie Wan. Even when Jie Wan said his name, Lin Ge didn't take it to heart. Wait a minute, what's going on? Someone from Heaven's Eyes came to Sky Entertainment Group to be a security guard. Is Brother Yun crazy? What's going on? It doesn't make sense at all. Lin Ji's mind was in a mess. But then again, other than Su Yun, who else could turn someone from Heaven's Eyes into a security guard? I thought you wouldn't remember me. Jie Wan said, I can understand that people of importance tend to be forgetful. Lin Ge shook his head in amazement. Not bad. You've become a good person. You're starting a new life. What's going on? If you're interested, Boss Su will tell you. Jie Wan said, it's my working hours now. I won't chat with you anymore. You're on duty tonight? Sure, do your job well. You'll have a bright future. Ha ha ha, you'll have a bright future. Lin Ge laughed and left. As a new security guard, Jie Wan did make everyone look at him in a new light. At least, Everyone in the security team was curious about him. Everyone was quite afraid of him. At least, they didn't dare to provoke him. After all, he knew Su Yun. Now that he knew Lin Gu, he was definitely not an ordinary person. Su Yun didn't bring him here personally because he wanted him to be high profile and keep people at a distance. Su Yun wanted others to know about his relationship with Jie Wan to prevent them from provoking Jie Wan, picking on him, or angering him. No matter what, Jie Wan was someone from Heaven's eyes. Once he was truly angered, no one knew what kind of things he would do. If Jie Wan turned hostile, even Su Yun wouldn't be able to control him so easily. Chapter 2575. Lin Gu quickly ran to Su Yun's office, shock written all over his face. "Brother, are you kidding me? How did you get someone from Heaven's Eye to come to the company?" Su Yun was still thinking about the 7-star glow when he was shocked by Lin Ji's sudden appearance. "You're back so soon? The journey was quite smooth. Don't worry about me first. I just want to know what's going on with that guy." "What's going on?" Lin Gu was confused. "Heaven's Eye is gone," Su Yun said. "He's working for me now. It's that simple." Lin Ji's jaw almost fell to the ground when he heard Su Yun's casual words. He and CFAIs had spent so much effort to destroy the Sakura group in Japan. However, Su Yun had dealt with Heaven's Eye so casually while they were not around. He even brought back a captive? "Brother, I really don't understand what you're doing," Lin Gu said. "How can you do such a dangerous thing alone? You should have waited for me to come back. Also, where's Chongma? Don't be anxious. It's safer for me to deal with this alone. If the two of us went together, it wouldn't be so easy to solve the problem," Su Yun said. Lin Gu seemed to understand. "I understand. You used your wits?" "You can say that. Su Yun. At least we've solved Heaven's Eye's problem very well. Also, Chongma, Jie, and the others aren't like what we imagined. They're all victims and were deceived." "I believe you. I only saw Jie, but I didn't see Chong Mo," Lin Gu said. "Chongma is passing the Dragon Brigade's assessment and investigation. We can't confirm if she can stay there yet," Su Yun said. Lin Gu was even more shocked by this news. This was too unbelievable. She could stay in the Dragon Brigade? "That's easy," Su Yun said. "Even if she doesn't pass the test, she can still come back here. At the very least, they've all left the Heaven's Eye. That's enough." "Phew, your project is even bigger than mine. I still want to come back and claim credit from you," Lin Gu said. "Thank you for your hard work with the Sakura group." Su Yun smiled. "Have you thanked CFAIs on my behalf?" "I've never had the chance to treat him to a drink." "You didn't manage to invite him back this time either." Lin Gu said. "I did invite him, but he said that he still has a lot of work to deal with, so he can't come with me." "Then I don't know how to thank him," Su Yun said regretfully. "He asked me to tell you not to worry. When he has time, he will definitely come to you and ask you to treat him," Lin Gu said. Su Yun smiled. He actually didn't like owing people favors. Putting aside the unimportant question, Su Yun suddenly cut to another topic. "Have you heard of the heptagram?" Lin Gu was stunned. "Heptagram? I remember playing a game where there was a hero, Soul Servant Charlotte. This Grand Duke's daughter defeated all her suitors with her unparalleled sword skills. In order to advance to a higher realm, she embarked on a journey to the east to pursue the path of the sword. Heptagram is her ultimate move. It deals physical damage to the target hero. If the target's health is below 20%, it will cause instant death. Alright, the shortcut key is R. Are you talking nonsense with me?" Su Yun rolled his eyes. "I didn't tell you about the online game." "Then what did you tell me?" Lin Gu was confused. "Forget it. I can tell that you don't know anything from your words." "Su Yun, the heptagram I'm talking about is an organization formed by 7 big families. I don't know if it was named by themselves or by outsiders, but it's called the heptagram." Lin Gu suddenly realized. Bro, now that you mention it, I think I've heard of it before. Su Yun looked at Lin Gu with complete distrust. I'm not in the mood to joke. You better not talk nonsense with me. I'm not spouting nonsense. There are 7 great clans, and all of them have existed for a very long time. The one leading them is the Zhang clan. Their ancestors even started an uprising in a certain dynasty, and they almost overthrew the emperor's dynasty. Su Yun looked at Lin Gu in surprise. You've heard of the Zhang family? Of course I've heard of them. Lin Gu said, earlier, when you suddenly said that, my brain really didn't get it, so I didn't understand what you were trying to say. Su Yun, now you understand? Of course I understand. You're not talking about a game. You're talking about an organization of the 7 big families, Lin Gu said. How much do you know? Tell me everything you know, Su Yun said. I know that the Zhang family almost overthrew the emperor's dynasty 18 generations ago, but because of some things, they didn't go that far. Lin Gu said, at that time, the emperor didn't dare to do anything to them. In the end, he was even given the title of state preceptor. That's even more powerful than the emperor. Su Yun waved his hand. Don't tell me about what happened 18 generations ago. I just want to hear about the current situation. I want to hear about what the recent 2 or 3 generations have done. Lin Gu scratched his head. Recently? Don't tell me there's still a Zhang family? Bro, you're not joking with me, right? There are still 7 big families? Don't tell me there aren't any more? Su Yun, who told you there aren't any more? Bro, if there really are still 7 big families, who in Huaxia wouldn't know of their reputation? Lin Gu said, obviously there aren't any more. That's why even you haven't heard of them. Su Yun was actually speechless. This is something that doesn't even need to be said, Lin Gu said. Bro, don't tell me you haven't heard about the 7-star Radiance family in the past. I vaguely seem to have heard someone talk about it, but it was limited to just a passing sentence, Su Yun said. Who did you hear it from? Of course it was my master who told me. Lin Gu said, the old man told us everything. The last generation of the 7-star Radiance family that declined should be when they were young. Su Yun. In other words, the 7-star Radiance family was the last generation that declined. That's right. Lin Gu nodded. You can say that. But to be more precise, it seems that there was already a split 3 generations ago. The last generation was the generation that shed all pretense of cordiality, and this generation is probably the generation that has no connection at all. Su Yun nodded. He seemed to have roughly understood what Lin Gu meant. If you really want to figure it out, I'm afraid you have to find someone from the last generation and ask. Lin Gu said, that's all I know. Maybe my master knows more. Otherwise, I'll help you ask around. You have to ask around, Su Yun said. This is very important to me. Ma Saner also told Su Yun that if he wanted to know more, he had to ask someone from the last generation. Their generation rarely heard the truth. Since Lin Ji's master, Lu Xuanji, knew about the 7-star Radiance family, especially about the Zhang family, Su Yun definitely wouldn't ask anyone else. Then I'll call him now, Lin Gu said and took out his phone. Su Yun directly went over and pulled Lin Gu to sit on the sofa. He listened next to him, afraid that he wouldn't be able to hear any details. Brother, it can't be. What's the situation? Are you that curious about the 7-star Radiance family? Lin Gu was a little confused. Su Yun nodded. Of course it was too important. He was too curious. His curiosity was about to swallow him whole. At this moment, Su Yun just wanted to figure everything out so that the stone in his heart could be lifted. Chapter 2576. The call was picked up after a long time. A very serious and unhappy voice came from the other end. Who is it? Old man, it's me, Lin Gu. Lin Gu smiled. Why do you sound so fierce? Who offended you again? Who made you so angry? Little brat, do you still remember this old man? There was a hint of a smile in Lu Xuanji's voice. I heard that you and Fei Eyes did some good things in Donging. Are you here to take credit? That's nothing. Is there a need for me to take credit? Lin Gu said disdainfully, how have you been recently? Are you still healthy? I don't think you need me to take care of you in the next few years. Although Lu Xuanji was scolding him, there was no real blame in his words. You little bastard, can't you speak properly? This was how they got along. Lu Xuanji had always been in this state of free-range attitude towards them, so there was no concept of politeness between them. However, having said that, sometimes politeness did not mean anything. Sometimes politeness only represented a kind of polite friendship. As for Lin Gu, although he was not polite to Lu Xuanji, he would do everything he could for Lu Xuanji. That was because he knew very well that it was Lu Xuanji who gave him a new life. Without Lu Xuanji, Lin Gu would not be who he was today. Yes, of course. Lin Gu said, I'm looking for you to ask something. If you know, answer truthfully. Don't hide anything from me. Go ahead. Lu Xuanji said, as long as it's a reliable question, I'll definitely answer you. If it's an unreliable question, then I'm sorry. I don't know. Lin Gu went straight to the point. You must have heard of the 7-star radiance. I still remember you telling us about the 7-star radiance. It's one of the 7 big families. The biggest is the Zhong family. Their ancestor almost killed the emperor. Lu Xuanji suddenly fell silent. You were the one who told us all this. Lin Gu said, don't tell me you don't remember. I won't forget what I said. Why are you asking? Lu Xuanji asked. Lin Gu said, of course there's something. If there's nothing, who would want to know about this? Hurry up. Tell me everything you know. However, Lu Xuanji said, didn't I just tell you that? I've already told you everything I know. What else do you want to know? I might not know what you want to know. Old man, can you stop joking? Lin Gu said, if you don't know, then it can only mean that you're making up a story. Do you admit that you're bragging? Just admit it. What's the big deal? Lu Xuanji said, let me tell you, there are some things that you mustn't blindly get involved in. If you blindly get involved, it's easy to cause problems, understand? Lin Gu was stunned. What do you mean? Are you telling me not to pry into things? Comprehend it yourself, Lu Xuanji said. Lin Gu looked at him blankly. Please, old man, you don't have to go that far. This isn't your style. You weren't so stingy before. But I'm stingy now. Can't I? Lu Xuanji said, your style is good. Then don't ask me. You won't die if you tell me. What's the point of being so secretive and hesitant? Lin Gu said. Lu Xuanji didn't seem to have any intention of talking. If it's interesting or not, it's already like this. If I don't know, then there's nothing I can do. You're really something. Lin Gu said helplessly. Do you have to go so far? What can't you say? Lu Xuanji's voice was no longer as relaxed as before. Let me tell you, and you'd better tell that little brother next to you. There are some things that can't be provoked. If you provoke them, you'll only get yourself into trouble. Moreover, it's the kind that can't be washed away. Lin Gu was stunned for a moment. He handed the phone directly to Su Yun. Lu Xuanji saw through everything and knew that Su Yun was right beside him. Su Yun took the phone in his hand. Senior Lu, I really can't stand how you address me. It's too old-fashioned. Lu Xuanji said, what error is this? You can call me Big Brother Lu. Lu Xuanji's unconventional behavior really made Su Yun a little confused. Big Brother Lu. Very good. Lu Xuanji said, if there's nothing else, I'll hang up first. You guys can play on your own. Wait a minute. Su Yun, I really just want to know something about the 7 big families of the 7-star radiance. Big Brother Lu, please tell me about it. What was the reason for the 7-star radiance to fall apart? Lu Xuanji said, what's the point of you knowing these things? There's no point in asking meaningless questions. Su Yun, I know a girl called Zhang Zishue. She has a tattoo of the 7-star radiance at the bottom left of her neck. She's from the Zhang family. The other end of the phone suddenly fell silent. Obviously, this was completely out of Lu Xuanji's expectations. So, if you know anything, please tell me, Su Yun said. Why is someone from the Jiang family with you? Lu Xuanji was very surprised. 10 years ago, the Jiang family moved out of Huaxia. Even the old servants in the family migrated to Canada in order to avoid some trouble and disputes. Now, someone from the Jiang family actually appeared in Huaxia? Lu Xuanji took a deep breath. If you can be honest with me, I might tell you what I know. Su Yun considered for a long time. He didn't know if he should tell Lu Xuanji about this. After all, Lu Xuanji was someone that Zhuo Langyue entrusted to him. He also didn't know if Zhuo Langyue was willing to let outsiders know. However, after thinking about it, Zhuo Langyue didn't tell Su Yun that he couldn't tell others about this matter. She also didn't tell him anything about Jiang Zixue's background. Now that there was trouble, Su Yun had to get to the bottom of it. However, he couldn't contact Zhuo Langyue herself. Besides, Lu Xuanji couldn't be considered an outsider. After all, he was Lin Ji's master and also a senior of the Seven Kings. Regardless of which aspect it was, Lu Xuanji couldn't possibly have any evil intentions towards Su Yun. It's the Empress who asked me to help take care of this girl. Su Yun ultimately chose to say it out. Lu Xuanji's voice sounded somewhat helpless. Why would she do such an unreliable thing? Su Yun, listen to me. It's best that you don't get involved in this matter. The issues between the 7 great clans of the 7-star Radiance are very complicated. Some things can't be explained in 1 or 2 sentences. However, I hope that you can listen to my advice. Su Yun didn't say anything and listened quietly. This matter isn't something that you should care about. Lu Xuanji said, Do you understand? But this matter has already landed on me, Su Yun said. Lu Xuanji said without hesitation, then reject it or don't care about it at all. This is the wisest choice for you. But I can't not care about it. Su Yun said, If I don't care about it, then won't I? Won't you what? Won't you become a person who doesn't keep his word? Lu Xuanji snorted. Then give yourself a reason to get involved in this matter. I'm afraid that you won't be able to find a reason at all because there's no reason to speak of. Su Yun thought for a moment and said indifferently, Jiang Zixue is my friend. Just because of this, I can't not care about it. You have so many friends. Do you have to care about all of their matters? Lu Xuanji said. As long as I know, as long as I encounter it, I will care, Su Yun replied without hesitation. Lu Xuanji was speechless. You really? Forget it, you can continue to be stubborn. However, I want to say that I'm sorry. I don't have any obligation to answer any of your questions. Chapter 2577. Su Yun suddenly said something that made Lu Xuanji speechless. I think you have an obligation. You asked Lin Gu to stay by my side. No matter what I do, he will definitely help me. Lu Xuanji really didn't expect Su Yun to speak to him like this. Are you threatening me? No, I'm just stating a fact to you, Su Yun said. Lu Xuanji shook his head. You are threatening me. I don't think you don't know what you are doing. I know very well what I am doing, Su Yun said. This is a problem that we must solve immediately. How do you want to solve it? Lu Xuanji said. Do I have to tell you something before you give up? Su Yun's reply was firm. If you can't tell me what you know, I won't be willing to do it. Okay, then I will give you an answer, Lu Xuanji said. Lu Xuanji said, Tell Lin Gu that if he wants to get into trouble with you, it's his own choice. I won't support him, but I won't stop him either. This answer made Su Yun speechless. Also, I want to tell you that there is a saying that one will not give up until they see the Yellow River, and will not shed tears until they see the coffin, Lu Xuanji said. You, Su Yun, are such a person. Without waiting for Su Yun to speak, Lu Xuanji directly hung up the phone. Lin Gu looked at Su Yun and said, Brother, what kind of trouble did we get into? What does Aunties will want you to do? My master has always been the kind of person who doesn't get angry easily. I heard his voice just now. Something is wrong. It seems that he is really angry. Maybe this is really too troublesome. Su Yun smiled. Lin Gu said, I really don't know what is so troublesome that the old man won't even tell me. This matter must not end like this. You're still going to ask? Su Yun said, Fine, if you're not afraid of being scolded, then continue to ask him. I think I should ask someone else. If your master knows, then our chief might know something too. I think you won't get anything valuable from the mouths of those two old fogies you mentioned, Lin Gu said. We still have to give it a try, Su Yun said. The risk is nothing more than being scolded. There's no other cost. Lin Gu laughed. This was also true. He bid farewell to Su Yun and went to his office. If he wanted to make the old man relent, he needed a detailed plan, how to guide him, how to say it, and what to say to stimulate him. Lin Gu had to record all of this on paper so that when he contacted Lu Xuanji later, he would not be at a loss for words because of Lu Xuanji. Su Yun directly called Wang Guangxiao's office. Although he was closer to Wang Yi, for this matter, he felt that it was more appropriate to look for Wang Guangxiao directly. If he looked for Wang Yi, he would have to consider whether Wang Guangxiao could make him say these things. If he looked for Wang Guangxiao directly, he only needed to consider whether he could say these things that Su Yun wanted to know. When Wang Guangxiao received Su Yun's call, he thought that he wanted to ask about Chengma and the other two. So, before Su Yun could speak, he told Su Yun about their current situation. At least for now, Wang Guangxiao did not feel that there was anything wrong with the three of them. He believed that they would pass the test soon and become a member of the Dragon Brigade. So, Wang Guangxiao told Su Yun not to be anxious. Some things had to be done slowly, so they could only do it slowly. Chief, actually, I'm not looking for you today because of this matter. Su Yun, I know that some things have to be done slowly. I'm not anxious or worried about when they will really join the brigade. Wang Guangxiao was stunned. Then why are you looking for me today? Without waiting for Su Yun to speak, Wang Guangxiao continued, I really don't understand why you would look for me directly now. It's about the Big Dipper. I want to know about the Big Dipper, Su Yun said. Wang Guangxiao was stunned. His voice was filled with doubt and confusion. Why are you asking about these things? I don't know either. Su Yun, it's just that if you know anything, please tell me. I really want to know. I want to know everything about the 7 big families of the Big Dipper. Why do you want to know all this? Wang Guangxiao, the Big Dipper is indeed the 7 big families, but I can tell you very clearly that these 7 families are already in decline. So, no one remembers their past glory. Su Yun, but you must remember. Me? Why should I remember? I just know that the 7 big families have always been aristocrats. Wang Guangxiao, aristocrats need hundreds or thousands of years of family consolidation and accumulation before they can truly become aristocrats. Only then can they know what true nobility and elegance are. But if they decline, it will be very fast. In 1 or 2 generations, they will completely fall. What I can tell you is that the Big Dipper has already fallen. Since it's already fallen, there should be no problem in chatting. Su Yun, why did they fall? Wang Guangxiao took a deep breath. Su Yun, it's better not to ask about some things. Is it difficult to say? Su Yun didn't understand. I can tell you what I know first. I know that the Big Dipper is headed by the Jiang family. I also know that they are all broken. I also know that the people of the 7 big families all have the same tattoo on their bodies. It's just that the positions of the stars are different, representing different families. Many people knew about these things, so it wasn't strange that Su Yun knew about them. Wang Guangxiao, you also know that they are broken. Then why are you still asking about them? Because Zhua Langyue asked me to help take care of a girl. She has a tattoo of the Big Dipper on the back of her neck. Moreover, she is a member of the Jiang family. Su Yun, now that she is in trouble, of course I want to know everything. Only by knowing everything can I be more confident. Hearing this, Wan Guangxiao was somewhat speechless. How can Zhuo Langyue bring this kind of trouble to you? Why did the people of the Jiang family come back? Chief, I know that you must know a lot about the Big Dipper. Su Yun said, tell me and let me understand more. That way, I can better protect the people I want to protect. I can also be fully prepared. What I can warn you is not to interfere with the matters of the 7 big families of the Big Dipper. Wan Guangxiao, some things can't be explained clearly, but the matters of the Big Dipper are definitely not something you should interfere with. I believe that Zhuo Langyue is also very clear about this. If she didn't want me to interfere, she wouldn't have brought this person to me. Even if she brought this person to you, she didn't tell you clearly about this person's identity. Wan Guangxiao, so I don't think she wants you to know too much. Su Yun was really a little impatient. None of them wanted to say anything. He was just saying it. What was the big deal? It was just a simple answer that couldn't be any simpler. That was all. Did they have to be like this? They were all stammering and refusing to say more. Chief, I understand what you mean. Sorry to disturb you. Su Yun hung up the phone disappointedly. He was really not in the mood at all. It didn't feel good to be confused about something that many people knew about. Chapter 2578. Brother, if you really want to know, why don't you ask Aunt Zhuo directly? Lin Gu said, no matter what, you have to call her little mom. Su Yun thought for a while, then shook his head and said, impossible. If she wanted to tell me, she would have told me before handing this matter over to me. But she didn't say anything. What does this mean? What? Lin Gu was startled. It means that she, like the others, felt that letting me know about this matter was definitely not a wise choice. Su Yun said, that's why she chose not to tell me. Then why did she have to hand this matter over to you? Why did she have to let you solve the problem? Lin Gu said, could it be that no one can protect that person? If only Su Yun knew all of this, he wouldn't have to be at a loss like now. There are many people who are stronger than me. For example, the 5 war gods by her side, any one of them could easily defeat me. Even if we add you, we still won't be a match for them, right? Wouldn't it be easier for her to arrange someone to deal with this matter? Lin Gu nodded. It was indeed so. The 5 war gods were all experts above the 6th level of the Earth Profound Realm. And Su Yun's current strength was at most around the 2nd level of the Earth Profound Realm. Above the Earth Profound Realm, the gap between each level was huge. Therefore, Su Yun didn't have the strength to compete with any of the 5 war gods. Among the 5 war gods, the strongest one was almost on par with Wan Guangxiao. Therefore, if Zhuo Langyue found someone among the 5 war gods to protect Jiang Zixue, it would be almost the same as finding Wan Guangxiao to protect Jiang Zixue. This was not at the same level as Su Yun. Therefore, from all aspects, Zhuo Langyue's decision wasn't because of Su Yun's strength. On the contrary, she seemed to think that Su Yun would be more cooperative in this matter. Heavens! I really don't know what's going on in her head. Lin Gu was really speechless. Only Zhuo Langyue could do such unimaginable things. If she hears you call her old lady, even I won't be able to protect you. Su Yun said, a loose tongue causes trouble. Be careful. Lin Gu grinned and chuckled. If she could hear me, I definitely wouldn't dare to say that. I'm not that stupid, brother. I think you're pretty dumb, Su Yun said. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to get anything out of her. Don't worry, you'll still have to rely on me for this. Lin Gu read through the lines that he had arranged before contacting Lu Xuanji again. Su Yun didn't have much hope in this matter. Looking at the time, he estimated that Zhuo Meiyan and Ruan Qingxuang's meeting was about to end. Su Yun decided to go to the meeting room to take a look. No matter what, he still had the burden of Sky Entertainment Group on his shoulders. When necessary, he should still appear. When Su Yun came to the meeting room, Zhuo Meiyan was summarizing the meeting. After seeing Su Yun, she was very pleased. After all, Sky Entertainment Group belonged to Su Yun. Zhuo Meiyan and Ruan Qingxuang could only play a supporting role. It was impossible for them to make all the decisions, make the plans, and summarize everything. When necessary, Su-yun should stand up. Even if it was just to establish his prestige, he should still appear in this kind of situation. Okay, I've said enough. You all know what you should do, Swamiyan said. Although Chairman Su has been busy recently, he has always had clear requirements for our plan for the last quarter of this year. Now, let's have Chairman Su summarize it. Su-yun was about to speak as soon as he entered the room. Although he wasn't prepared, he still had some simple words in his mind. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their efforts and contributions this year. Without your efforts and contributions, Qingdao wouldn't have developed so smoothly this year, Su-yun said in a grateful manner. But soon, he also pointed out the weaknesses of the work and criticized some of the wrong ways of doing things. Also, Su-yun emphasized very seriously on how to get rid of the unspoken rules forever. Overall, the summary of the meeting went from strict to relaxed, and from relaxed back to strict. As a boss, he had to cultivate a certain level of relaxation. I believe we can solve these problems. Su-yun said in the end, this is the last thing we need to do this year, so I hope everyone can cheer up and let us have a perfect ending this year. There was a round of applause as Su-yun finished speaking. Su-yun was very relaxed in facing this kind of situation. If it had been half a year ago, Su-yun wouldn't have been able to accept it. Alright, there's nothing else. Let's adjourn. Sorry for wasting everyone's time today, Su-yun said. Thank you, Chairman Su. Everyone stood up and saw Su-yun off. Su-yun didn't waste any time. He stood up and left. Ruan Qingxuang and Zhuo Meiyan followed him out of the meeting room. Lin Gu hasn't come back yet? Why are you here? Didn't you say you weren't coming? Ruan Qingxuang asked. Su-yun nodded. He's already here. He's dealing with some things. I saw that you guys were almost done, so I came over to take a look. At least you know your place in your heart, Zhuo Meiyan said. I knew you would say that, Su-yun said. But you're right. I should know who I am. Zhuo Meiyan nodded with satisfaction. That's right. You've improved. Speaking of which, Lin Gu didn't leave immediately after he came back to explain things to you? Isn't he going to hurry back and accompany Fengya? Yes, what else do you have to deal with? Ruan Qingxuang was very curious. Su-yun said, it's just a small matter. I believe he's almost done with it. You guys go home first. I'll be back in a while. What's the matter? Why are you being so mysterious? Zhuo Meiyan asked. It's about Jiang Zixue, Su-yun said. I heard about it today, so I want to find out more about it. But now, the only person who can get some information is Lin Ji's master. So, Zhuo Meiyan immediately understood. Actually, she didn't need to think too much to guess that someone who the Empress personally asked Su-yun to take care of was definitely not a simple person. She definitely had an extraordinary background. Therefore, it was within Zhuo Meiyan's expectations that Jiang Zixue's background could shock even Su-yun. We'll wait for you then, Ruan Qingxuang said. We'll go home together after you're done with your matters. Let's go back first, Zhuo Meiyan said. We don't know how long they'll take. Besides, if we're around, he might consider it inconvenient. Ruan Qingxuang felt that Zhuo Meiyan's words made sense. All right then, we'll go back first. You should hurry up and deal with your matters. I'll go back and cook some light supper for you. Thank you for your hard work, Su-yun said with a smile. Let's go back earlier. It's already very cold at night. Zhuo Meiyan and Ruan Qingxuang left. The people in the company also drove away one after another. The lights in the offices of the entire Sky Entertainment Group building were extinguished one after another. Lin Gu was still on the phone with Lu Xuanji. Meanwhile, Jie Wan, who was on night duty at the security office, was staring at the extinguished lights in the building in a daze. Jie Wan was deeply moved by these few days of brightly lit city life. He really didn't expect that he would actually fall in love with this kind of life one day. Su-yun returned to find Lin Gu at a leisurely pace. When he reached the door, he heard Lin Ji's voice. I understand, old man. I won't disturb you then. Hee hee. If you had told me all this earlier, you wouldn't have had to worry about me bothering you. Lin Gu seemed to be very happy. This clearly meant that he had gained something. Su Yun pushed open the door and walked in expectantly. Chapter 2579. I said I would take care of it, haha. Lin Gu said, sometimes, the old man can't be as stubborn as me. Don't fall out with the old man because of this. Su Yun said, it won't be that bad. After all, they have their reasons for hiding it. It's mainly because I don't think there's anything to hide. Lin Gu said, he told me that before the 7 great families fell out, or to be exact, before the other 6 families fell out with the Zhang family, their business alliances almost covered the entire northern hemisphere. If that was the case, Su Yun was even more puzzled. As the leading family of the heptagram, the Zhang family was bound to have the greatest influence and contribution to the family. If the Zhang family did not have this ability, the other 6 families of the heptagram would not have been able to circle around the Zhang family like stars surrounding the moon. Therefore, one thing was certain. The Zhang family had the absolute ability to be the leader of the heptagram, and they also had the absolute ability to help the other families make money. If they did not even have this basic ability, the Zhang family would definitely not have been able to occupy an absolute dominant position among the 7 families of the heptagram. The other 6 families would not use this kind of tattoo to distinguish themselves. These details showed that the Zhang family had fought for huge benefits for the heptagram. Therefore, they were willing to curl up and work for the Zhang family. If they fell out, it must be because the Zhang family had touched on some untouchable interest. Otherwise, the 6 families would not have fallen out with them so quickly. The old man said that at that time, someone destroyed the business alliances of the heptagram in the northern hemisphere, causing huge losses to the heptagram. Lin Gu said, then, the heptagram put a bounty on the entire world. Just to catch the person who destroyed their business alliances? Su Yun said, it's not easy to put a bounty on the entire world. That's right, Lin Gu said. The asking price must be quite high. Su Yun asked, what does this have to do with their falling out? Because on this matter, the Zhang family and the other families had different opinions. Lin Gu said, then, they went their separate ways. There's nothing wrong with each of us protecting our own interests, Lin Gu said. But it's not to the extent of completely falling out with each other. Lin Gu smiled. That's easy to say, but not easy to do. After all, the impact of this was huge. Without the Zhang clan as an axis, many things would not be able to operate. Therefore, the other 6 great clans have a very strong need for the Zhang family. Haven't we all sat down to have a cup of tea and have a good talk? Su Yun said, there are many ways to solve a problem. Why should we limit ourselves to one? Harmony breeds wealth. I'm afraid that everyone wants to make money peacefully, but it's difficult to do so. Lin Gu said, some things are meaningless. Su Yun, just because he wants to go solo, the other 6 families are going to collapse. It seems that the Zhang family's ability is really not ordinary. It's not just unusual. The Zhang family can double the benefits of all the other families. It's that simple. Lin Gu said, many years after the conflict, the Zhang family left. They settled down in Canada and only did some business in the North American market. They completely broke away from the other 6 great clans. Even if it's the Zhang family's own choice, do the other families have any opinions? Su Yun, I'm afraid they don't have the right to stop other people's decisions. This is the reason for the conflict. Lin Gu said, it's because the Zhang family completely cut off their relationship with the other 6 great clans that they were isolated and ostracized. In the following years, the other 6 great clans made opposing the Zhang family their primary goal, but they failed time and time again. This is the reason for the conflict intensifying? Su Yun was startled. If that's the case, if anyone wants to harm Zhang Zixue, the most suspicious people are the people from the 6 great clans. Lin Gu nodded. Definitely, it has to be them. How powerful are the 6 great clans? Su Yun also couldn't figure out this point. Jiang Zixue was obviously someone Zhuo Langyue wanted to protect. Even the Empress has some misgivings? The simplest way was for Zhuo Langyue to personally explain to the 6 great clans. He believed that no one would be willing to offend the Empress, right? Then there wouldn't be a problem. This is the crux of the problem. Lin Ge said, although my old man didn't say what the reason is or why Aunt Zhuo doesn't want to contact the other 6 great clans, I can tell you something. But I can feel that things aren't that simple. It can only mean that she's also deeply involved and some things can't be controlled. Su Yun, otherwise, there's no need for her to do this. Lin Ge nodded. I suspect so too. But I can't find out the relationship between Aunt Zhuo and the 6 great clans. If it wasn't a special relationship, I think she definitely wouldn't have chosen this method. Su Yun, the only explanation is that it's inconvenient for her to show up, so she can only ask me to help her. Then it's no wonder my old man said that we can't afford to offend them. Lin Ge, brother, think about it. Even the Empress has scruples. We definitely can't afford to offend them. Su Yun didn't believe that there was anyone in this world that he couldn't afford to offend. Maybe you're right, but it doesn't mean that we have to worry about the Empress. Su Yun, maybe I don't need to worry about the Empress's feelings. Lin Ge opened his mouth wide. Su Yun was probably the only person in the world who dared to think and look at the problem in this way. Then you have to think carefully. Lin Ge, as long as it's your decision, I will definitely support you. But I still want to say that I feel that this matter is definitely more complicated. It's definitely not that simple. This is inevitable. Su Yun, let's take one step at a time. At least now we can basically confirm who our opponents are. Lin Ge, we only know about the 6 great families, but we don't know anything about them. When I asked him about it, the old man refused to say anything. They will give themselves away sooner or later, Su Yun. Actually, Lin Ge wanted to find out more. After all, only by knowing yourself and your enemy could you win 100 battles. Currently, they knew nothing about their opponents. Su Yun, I feel that Jie Ji might know something. Lin Ge was stunned. Why do you say that? I don't know, it's just a feeling. Su Yun, or maybe I've been too nervous recently, so I feel that anyone can help me solve some problems. Lin Ge laughed. You should be thanking the heavens if this guy doesn't cause you any trouble. Maybe. That will depend on his performance. Su Yun, it's getting late. You should go home and give Fangya a surprise. After all, it doesn't feel good to leave her alone at home. Brother, you still have the nerve to say that. Lin Ge laughed dryly. Fangya already said that it's fortunate that she fell in love with me and not you. If she fell in love with you, that would be called suffering. Su Yun was stunned. Perhaps only a woman's words could truly represent a woman's heart. Thinking about it carefully, Su Yun really felt sorry for the people around him. Thinking of this, Su Yun really felt guilty and ashamed. Take the current situation for example. Everyone gathered at Guqin Island because they were worried about him. After he returned to Guqin Island, he had been busy with his own affairs. This made people feel neglected. Su Yun knew very well. However, he had never really changed the current situation. Some unconscious actions might bring harm to others, and this kind of harm could be seen most clearly by women. Lin Ji's words deeply stimulated Su Yun's heart. Chapter 2580. However, every woman who would stay by Su Yun's side could tolerate everything about him, and their tolerance for Su Yun was also the greatest. Su Yun still felt quite ashamed in his heart. There would definitely be discomfort. After Lin Ge left, Su Yun went directly to the movie hotel. He felt that if he couldn't find anyone to solve this matter, the only person who had the obligation to tell him clearly was Jiang Zixue herself. After all, this was Jiang Zixue's own matter. If she still hid something, Su Yun really couldn't convince himself to continue helping her. Jiang Zixue had been waiting for Su Yun to bring her news for a long time. She didn't even leave the hotel for the whole day. Although she didn't know what kind of danger she was facing, Her sixth sense told her that there must be a big trouble behind her. Su Yun's arrival calmed Jiang Zishue's heart a lot. She was looking forward to the news Su Yun brought her. Is there a problem with the car? Su Yun nodded. Maybe we should have a good talk. I need to know the truth of some things. Otherwise, I really don't know how to help you. The truth of the matter? Jiang Zishue was startled. But I don't know what truth you want. Your identity. Su Yun. As the head of the 7 great families of the 7 stars brilliance, the Jiang family. Why don't you tell me this clearly? What 7 great families? Jiang Zishue was stunned. Her expression showed that she really didn't know what Su Yun was talking about. Su Yun frowned. If we can't be honest with each other, I don't have enough strength to help you. I really don't understand what you are talking about, Jiang Zishue said. Jiang Zishue said. From what she heard, Su Yun's words seemed to be telling her that he no longer wanted to help her, because she was really a big trouble. Su Yun didn't say anything. He just stared at Jiang Zishue quietly, as if he wanted Jiang Zishue to understand that he really needed an answer right now, an answer that could satisfy him. Facing Su Yun's questioning gaze, Jiang Zishue responded, If you feel that you don't want to participate in my affairs, then give me a clear answer. Tell me that you don't want to continue. I will never force anyone who has nothing to do with me to protect me. Really, you don't have to find excuses for yourself. That's not what I meant, Su Yun said. Jiang Zishue asked loudly, Then what do you mean? When Jiang Zishue raised her voice, she had indeed angered Su Yun. If Jiang Zishue hadn't been entrusted to him by Zhuo Langyue, he would have directly left her alone. She didn't know what was good for her. What do I mean? I want you to explain to me what that tattoo on the back of your neck is. Su Yun, I already have a basic understanding of the Big Dipper. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come here to talk nonsense with you. Tattoo? Jiang Zishue was stunned. Indeed, there was a tattoo on the back of her neck. But she really couldn't remember when she had this tattoo. She had no impression of it at all. Su Yun's questioning made Jiang Zishue completely at a loss. Her head hurt. She really wanted to know what had happened. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't remember any details. She couldn't remember what she had done at all. Yes, she really couldn't remember it at all. Why on earth? Jiang Zishue said, Su Yun, If I say that I can't remember, will you believe me? You can't remember a tattoo? Su Yun was stunned at that time. Because the tattoo didn't look seriously deformed, it couldn't have been tattooed on her when she was still young. At least, this was tattooed after her body had basically matured and didn't change too much in height and shoulder width. All the tattoos of the Big Dipper were tattooed on the 16th birthday of the family's children. However, in Jiang Zishue's generation, the children of the other 6 big families of the Big Dipper had already started to stop tattooing. In the past, this tattoo was a symbol of their family's status. After they fell out, they didn't seem to want to leave this tattoo around the Jiang family on their descendants. But the Jiang family was different. They would always be the most dazzling star in the middle of the Big Dipper, so they would still keep this tattoo. Those families that even gave up the Big Dipper tattoo seemed to have disappeared from the Big Dipper along with this tattoo. Now, those who were dissatisfied with the Jiang family were the families that still kept the Big Dipper tattoo. They were the families that couldn't stand the Jiang family. I remember that I did have a tattoo, but I don't know why. I don't remember when it was done at all, and I don't know why it was done. Jiang Zishue's eyes were filled with fear. She was already a big special agent actress, and there were agencies fighting to sign her. However, she wasn't a real acting expert after all. Furthermore, even if she was a real acting expert, the fear in her eyes was probably something that only less than 100 best actors and actresses in the world could act out. Su Yun believed in her eyesight. This definitely wasn't something that could be acted out. Don't tell me you're frustrated? Su Yun couldn't find a better reason. Jiang Zishue was surprised by the word, frustrated. No. That can't be. I remember the past. I remember my family. I remember my parents. I remember. Why can't I remember the last time we met? While Jiang Zixue was dumbfounded, Su Yun was also dumbfounded. Selective amnesia, or rather, psychogenic amnesia. This was the only explanation. Psychogenic amnesia was a phenomenon of selective and abnormal amnesia. It was when the patient was too shocked to recall recent events and selectively forgot part of it, or temporarily disintegrated the memory so that it didn't appear in their consciousness. However, Jiang Zixue's amnesia might not be limited to recent events, but more recent ones. It could be seen from the skin color of her tattoo that it wasn't recent, but the color of a tattoo that had been done for a long time. Many unpleasant things would happen in everyone's life. Some would be forgotten very quickly, but some would always linger. No matter how hard one tried, they couldn't forget them. Every day, they would torture their fragile nerves, and they would be on the verge of collapse. Everyone would feel humiliated, angry, wronged, and other complicated emotions of being deceived. At a time like this, forgetting these memories was the best solution. In psychology, selective amnesia was a defense mechanism. In layman's terms, when people encountered a very strong stimulus that they could not bear, then there would be a force in their subconscious that would make them choose to forget this matter, resulting in this so-called selective amnesia. However, this was only a kind of forgetting on the surface. The shadow of the impact of the incident still existed. Therefore, when people did things, they would unconsciously be negatively affected by these things. Perhaps the patient herself didn't even know how it was formed. This kind of influence was still very big. From the looks of it, Jiang Zixue definitely couldn't rule out this possibility. Because from her various reactions, Su Yun's guess might be right. She did not remember some things. This was a fact. However, she definitely didn't suffer from complete amnesia. Chapter 2581. Su Yun had also encountered selective amnesia before, and it also happened to his own brothers. Some tragic missions would bring intense stimulation to some Special Forces members who participated in real missions for the first time. Although it wasn't that serious, it still existed. Selective amnesia would be eroded by time, and gradually recover bit by bit. But if something had a great psychological impact on the person with amnesia, it was possible that they would keep forgetting, but this was rare. In fact, when Su Yun was on the verge of collapse, he almost selectively forgot some things because of his psychological instincts. But his heart was too strong, so he couldn't automatically use this method to protect himself from the psychological damage. So this was a normal state with a scientific explanation. Some people, because of a major setback, wanted to forget this matter, then under strong psychological pressure, they would feel that something didn't happen. Over time, this kind of situation would really cause people to forget about it. Some people would even fabricate another situation in their minds, hypothetically deceiving themselves. This kind of deception would also make them believe that this was a real situation over time. In fact, all of this was possible. In essence, it was all out of self-protection. This was a completely different situation from amnesia in medical terms. Because medical amnesia was generally a disease caused by brain trauma. The main reason was that the normal integration of consciousness, memory, identity, and environment to the environment was damaged, so it caused more serious problems in life, and these symptoms couldn't be explained by physiological factors. People with amnesia often didn't know who they were, or felt that there were many of them. Jiang Zixue obviously wasn't like this. She knew who she was, and she knew a lot about herself. She knew her identity and background, but she didn't know her real identity and background. If Su Yun had to make an explanation and judgment, he would have to make a judgment. Su Yun could only say that Jiang Zixue didn't like her previous identity as a member of the heptagram family. She preferred her own carefree and stress-free life. So at this time, all the memories she lost were related to the heptagram family, and she even forgot about this tattoo. Phew! The probability of this happening was almost minuscule, but Su Yun still had to admit that it was absolutely possible. Is there anything you can't remember? Su Yun asked. Don't you know the meaning of your tattoo? Why are there 7 stars? Why are the colors in the middle different? What does it represent? Jiang Zixue shook her head blankly. She really didn't know. She had no recollection of the tattoo on her body. Su-yun took a deep breath. He believed that he no longer needed to find a doctor. Everything was basically confirmed. What do you know? Jiang Zishue asked, why do you seem to know my identity better than I do? Then it's not because of me. It's because of you. Su-yun said, I originally wanted to learn more from you, to understand more. Who would have thought that you would be even more clear about your own situation than I am? Jiang Zishue shook her head. Why? Why is it like this? Su-yun was afraid that it was meaningless to ask anything now. Do you remember how you came back to Huaxia? I took a plane back to Yanjing, and then aunties picked me up and sent me to Qingdao. Jiang Zishue said, of course I remember. Of course I know. Then why did you come to Huaxia? Su-yun asked. Who told you to come? Jiang Zishue's mind was blank. Her parents' friend sent her on the plane. As for why, she questioned herself over and over again, but she couldn't think of a reason at all. Where are your parents? Why didn't they come with you? Su-yun asked again. Jiang Zishue felt a slight headache. The stabbing pain seemed to be caused by her inability to remember anything. She really wanted to know everything, and she wouldn't deny this at all. Maybe this is too difficult for you, Su-yun said, but if you can figure out these questions, it will be the best for you and for me. The more Jiang Zishue thought about it, the more headache she felt. Moreover, she had no clue at all. What happened to your family before you came to Huaxia is the most important thing. Su-yun said, if you can remember these things, we won't be so passive. What happened? When Jiang Zishue wanted to try to think about these questions, her whole head was stung. This kind of stinging pain even made her unable to help but cry out. Jiang Zishue buried her face in her knees. She didn't know why she was in so much pain. Just thinking about it made her feel like her whole brain was exploding. I really can't take it anymore. Jiang Zishue said, why is it so painful? Stop, I'm afraid you won't be able to figure it out even if you think about it. Su-yun said, I can understand how you feel. Your self-protective instinct tells you not to think about those things. Jiang Zishue's whole body was in a very bad situation now. If it was before, when she didn't think about these questions at all, she wouldn't be so uncomfortable. But now, she really wanted to know what happened. This was different from before when she didn't think about those things at all. She could no longer accept all of this calmly. But when she wanted to think about these things clearly, she was completely at a loss in the face of all this. Even her own subconscious didn't want to think about these things. Why was it like this? Jiang Zishue really couldn't accept this situation. Believe me, calm down. Everything will be fine. Everything will be solved. Su-yun said, if you insist on thinking about those things now, not only will you not be able to figure it out, but you will only make yourself more painful. Jiang Zishue didn't believe it, but when she tried to think about what happened before again, that kind of stinging pain pulled her back to reality. All she could think about was blankness, and the mental pain was more obvious and painful than when she first tried to think about what happened in the past. What on earth happened? Jiang Zishue suddenly realized that she didn't come to Qingdao to pursue her dream of being an actress at all. Jiang Zishue's so-called dream of being an actress was a situation that she and Zhuo Langyue made up for her together. It was a reason that she created for herself. All of a sudden, the situation that Jiang Zishue made up was shattered at once. I don't want to be an actress at all. Jiang Zishue said, I came to Qingdao just because aunties wanted me to be by your side. Is that true? Su-yun took a deep breath. Maybe this was the truth, but Jiang Zishue had been deeply immersed in the play at the beginning and put herself in the illusion that she made up. In this way, she could quickly forget those things that she wanted to forget. When she completely forgot those things that she wanted to forget, she was deeply immersed in the play and her current role. However, Su-yun's words today had once again pulled her back to reality. Jiang Zishue suddenly came to a realization. She wasn't an actress at all. Everything that had happened was just a part of her imagination. Everything was just a beautiful fairy tale that she had created. So now a new question appeared. Why did she come here on Earth? Chapter 2582. Everything about Jiang Zishue's life in Canada was so logical, but what memories did she have of her previous life? The things that she could still remember were all insignificant things. She remembered that her family lived in Montreal, a city in the southwest of Quebec, Canada. It was the Montreal Island and the surrounding islands in the St. Lawrence River. She remembered that the city she lived in was the second largest city in Canada, a city of 3 to 4 million people, the largest city in Quebec. They spoke French there, because French was the official language of Montreal and the most commonly used language in the city. Montreal used to be the economic center of Canada before Toronto. It had the largest population and the most developed economy. The aviation industry, the financial industry, the design industry, and the film industry were all very developed. It was the world's best livable city, and the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization called it the City of Design. She liked Montreal. She remembered that she was taken to Montreal by her family when she was very young. She was more familiar with Montreal than she was with Yenjing. Although she lived in Yenjing for 2 months every year, because her family said that only Huaxia's New Year would have a different flavor. But she only lived in Yenjing for 2 months before and after the Spring Festival. But when she first met Su Yun, she completely regarded herself as a Yenjing person. At that time, she even forgot all about her life in Montreal. Now she began to remember that she lived in Montreal's Chinatown more often. Montreal's Chinatown was a veritable Huaxia city. The 4 classical Chinese painted archways, like its 4 gates in the east, west, north, and south, formed a unique world. Within its embrace, the Spring Garden was filled with Huaxia shops, Chinese characters, Huaxia products, and Huaxia people. Over there, the Chinese language could be used freely, while French and English had become a foreign language. There were Chinese churches and traditional Chinese medicine pharmacies. There, you could buy almost all Huaxia products and Chinese books and newspapers. Of course, Montreal's Chinatown was originally a settlement of Irish immigrants. It was the darkest and noisiest corner of the whole city. In the mid to late 19th century, because of the construction of railways and mining of mines, a large number of Chinese workers gathered here. Relying on their own diligence and wisdom, they established their own businesses and took root here, forming the original Chinatown. After generations of Huaxia people's hard work, Chinatown today has become a famous tourist attraction in Montreal. Zhongshan Park was located in the middle of the street. Although it wasn't big, it was quaint and elegant, with a strong Chinese atmosphere. Almost all Huaxia tourists in Canada had no reason to reject this place. It was even more crowded than the Notre Dame Cathedral, Mount Royal Park, and even the Montreal Casino because it was Chinatown. But no matter how hard Jiang Zishue tried to recall, she only remembered these things. She didn't even know what her family did in Chinatown. She didn't even know why her family moved to Montreal when she was 5 or 6 years old. Of course, she didn't know the last memories she had with her family. She didn't remember where she had her last dinner with her family, nor did she remember what she had eaten, nor did she know what happened. The only thing that flashed through her mind was that the dinner wasn't over, and then something happened. What happened? The severe headache made it impossible for Jiang Zishue to think deeply about any questions. You need to rest, Su Yun, but for now, it's not safe for you to live here alone. Why? Jiang Zishue asked. There's something wrong with your car. I didn't have time to tell you clearly just now. Su Yun, the car is installed with a GPS location. All your movements are under the control of the other party. Jiang Zishue became nervous. What about now? What should I do now? We removed it after the thing was detected, Su Yun, so you don't have to worry about this at all. Jiang Zishue said, so now those people know that I went to Hadong? They won't continue to stay in Qingdao, right? Unfortunately, I wasn't able to lure out the real mastermind behind this. Su Yun, if I'm not wrong, they must already know that we found the car's GPS. Also, They should know very well that I led them to Hadong, and you are still in Qingdao. Jiang Zishue was confused. So you went to Hadong for nothing this time? You can't say that it's a wasted trip. At least the car is safe. Su Yun said, but you have such a flashy Ferrari. Even if you don't install a GPS, it won't be too difficult to find you in a city. Jiang Zishue took a deep breath. This result made her very unhappy. After all, this car had just been released. Even in Huaxia, where there were rich second-generation heirs everywhere, there were definitely less than 30 of them. Although Qingdao was one of the top metropolises among the second-tier cities, and supercars were common there, Jiang Zishue's car might be the only one. Then I can't drive this car anymore, Jiang Zishue said. If you want to return it, it might be a bit of a loss. Su Yun, but if you don't return it, I can help you find someone to sell it. This car is so new, and the quality is good. I believe that if you can save on the purchase tax, I'm afraid many people will be happy to buy it. Jiang Zishue rolled her eyes at Su Yun. Of course many people will be happy to buy it if they can save on the purchase tax. I won't do that. It's too much of a loss. Do you care about this little bit of money? Su Yun, Jiang Zishue, I don't care about it, but I also feel like I'm losing out, understand? Then there's no good way to deal with it. I'll find time to drive it back to the garage for you, Su Yun, just leave it there. Jiang Zishue shook her head. If a car can only be thrown into the garage after you buy it, it's definitely a form of imprisonment. Although I won't drive this car anymore, it doesn't mean that you can't drive it. Me? Su Yun was stunned. I'll give it to you. Jiang Zishue said, moreover, if this car is still there, it might be able to lure the other party out. So, this car is the most suitable for you. Su Yun grinned. I don't want to be so ostentatious. It's better for you to be ostentatious than for me to be ostentatious, Jiang Zishue said. Tomorrow, take me to buy a more low-key car. Su Yun was speechless. Jiang Zishue, you're making a profit. If it was someone else, who wouldn't be willing? This was definitely a profit, but this thing was also troublesome. Perhaps no one could bear this trouble except for Su Yun. Then what kind of low-key car do you want to change to? Su Yun, have you thought about it? Let's go to the 4S shop tomorrow and buy whatever is inconspicuous. Jiang Zishue said, at least before we figure out who the other party is, I can't be too ostentatious. Su Yun smiled. That's not your personality. Am I that ostentatious? Jiang Zishue said, that's just because you don't know me very well. If you really know me, then you won't think that I'm an ostentatious person. Driving a Ferrari supercar with 2 million in cash to the crew to throw money, and she actually said that she wasn't an ostentatious person. Other than Jiang Zishue, no one else was. If you're not an ostentatious person, then there's no ostentatious person around me. Su Yun said helplessly, let's go. Today, follow me to my house. Chapter 2583. What do you mean? Jiang Zishue was stunned. You want to ask me out? I'm sorry, but even if it's not safe, I won't ask you out. Do you want to ask me out? Su Yun, I'm obviously inviting you to my house as a guest. I don't want to ask you out at all, right? I said I'm going back to my own house, not your house. Jiang Zishue stuck out her tongue. Plus, you're already staying in a hotel. If I wanted to, I wouldn't have to change places. Su Yun, if we want to ask you out, we can just ask you out here. This is Sky Entertainment's hotel. You wouldn't dare, Jiang Zishue said. If you stayed the night, it would be big news the next day. Su Yun said, so you know that this is Sky Entertainment Group's hotel. It's because this is Sky Entertainment Group's hotel that this is the safest place. Even if I spend the night here, only my employees will know. The paparazzi can't come in. Do you think my employees would be stupid enough to say anything about me? If they did, they wouldn't want to continue working here. Jiang Zishue laughed. Speaking of which, why do I have to go to your house? I've stayed here for so many days without a problem. Yeah, that's true. You've stayed here for so many days without a problem. Su-yun, that's because they've been trying to figure me out. They're too cautious. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made that mistake in Hadong. Jiang Zishue, who would be so cautious? Who knows? Su-yun, they actually got the local gangsters to follow me. I didn't manage to lure the snake out of its hole. Instead, I lured the earthworm out. In fact, Su-yun was still a little scared when he thought about it. After all, he had no choice but to show up. If the other party wasn't so cautious and directly bit him, he would have suffered a lot. After all, Tang Zhou was by his side at the time. Su-yun would have had some reservations. If Su-yun thought about it in a positive way, this was the only thing he should be happy about. Although the other party was cautious, they were overly cautious. Being overly cautious might also give Su-yun a new opportunity, giving Su-yun a new opportunity to strike first. Although there was no progress now, Su-yun believed that as long as he was patient, there would definitely be a chance to settle this matter. Since the other party is so cautious, then I have even less to worry about. They won't dare to hurt me easily, Jiang Zishue said. You're wrong. Because of their caution, I'm afraid they've already figured out your current situation, Su-yun said. If you're still alone, you're likely to get into trouble. Jiang Zishue said, but if I live with you, then you will be found out very quickly. That way, we'll lose our advantage. We don't have any advantage in the first place. The other party is in the dark while we are in the light. Su-yun, what other advantage do you want? Jiang Zishue said, at least that way, we can catch them off guard at a critical moment. Then I'll have to arrange for people to protect you in the dark 24/7. Su-yun, no matter where you are, there will be people watching you. Jiang Zishue's face darkened. Do I have to be watched when I go to the bathroom or the shower? That's not necessary. Your safety is basically guaranteed when you enter the hotel. Su-yun, strangers won't be allowed to enter the hotel. Even if they want to stay, they will be rejected. That's why my hotel is the cleanest hotel. You won't find a single paparazzi. Jiang Zishue said, but I don't want to go back with you and be restricted by your protection, nor do I want to be watched. What should I do? That's your problem. You should cooperate, Su-yun said. I'm not used to being watched. Jiang Zishue said, I've never known what it feels like. Su-yun, while I was at Hadong, there were people watching you. Did you feel uncomfortable? If not, that means you're very adaptable. Jiang Zishue's eyes widened. Then even if I didn't agree today, you would still do it. That's right. Su-yun nodded. Whether you agree or not, I will arrange for people to watch you. Then what if I go home with you? Will there still be people watching me? Jiang Zishue asked. It's the same. Su-yun nodded. You will always have someone by your side. As long as Jiang Zishue went, Su-yun would have Cho-yun follow her. At least if there was any danger, Cho-yun would be able to detect it in advance. Jiang Zishue stood up and pointed at the door. She said to Su-yun, take care. I won't see you out. I'm only doing this to ensure your safety. Su-yun, are you sure? I've decided. Jiang Zishue said, compared to being followed by someone all the time, I'd rather be secretly watched. At least as long as I don't think too much about it, I won't feel uncomfortable. Su-yun nodded. That's true. I don't have any other choice. It's up to you. Jiang Zishue said. Remember to take me to buy a car tomorrow. Su-yun nodded. Then I'll throw your Ferrari in the garage under Sky Entertainment Group. Do as you wish. Jiang Zishue said. If you don't like it, then throw it away. It's not that I don't like it. I just don't want people to watch me so quickly. Su-yun, at least now I'm basically sure that those who are watching this car won't be able to guess that I've returned to Qingdao so quickly. Jiang Zishue nodded. Fine. You decide. I want them to find you as soon as possible. Asking for trouble isn't a good idea. Su Yun, you want to use me as bait. That's too obvious. I didn't say that. Jiang Zishue said, it's you. Since you want to figure out everything, why don't you use a faster method? A simple and crude method won't let me gain anything. Su Yun, I want to figure out the other party, but I don't want to be a target. Jiang Zishue nodded. Do as you wish. Anyway, I'll give you the car. I don't want to drive it anymore. Your phobia is a bit too serious. Su Yun, then I won't be polite with you. I'll take the car. After this is over, you can drive it away whenever you want. After this is over, we'll go and transfer the ownership. Jiang Zishue said. Consider it a gift from me to thank you. Tycoon. Su Yun, worthy of being a member of the Jiang family, the biggest family of the Big Dipper 7 families. He was so generous. A random gift was a Ferrari. Money really didn't treat it as money. Compared to my life, I really don't think it's anything. Jiang Zishue said. Then I'll wait for you at the hotel. If you don't come tomorrow, I won't go out. Su Yun nodded. Okay. Wait for me. Since Jiang Zishue did not intend to go home with him, Su Yun could only let Lin Gur and Jie Faker take turns keeping an eye on this matter when he could not guarantee her safety. The slightest movement could affect the whole thing. Su Yun knew very well that everyone was in a period of probing. Even if the opponent was in the dark, they still didn't know him. This was the only advantage Su Yun could take advantage of. As long as the other party didn't know, they wouldn't dare to act rashly. Su Yun had to figure out who the opponent was during this period of time. However, Su Yun was now certain that this had something to do with the other 6 families. Even if it wasn't their people, it had to be someone they arranged. However, the 6 families didn't have that much influence now. Where could Su Yun find them? This was the key to the problem. Chapter 2584. So far, the people who targeted Jiang Zishue hadn't really made a move, and Su Yun hadn't really encountered any danger, so the sense of threat and crisis wasn't that serious. Other people weren't too worried about this matter. They even had some wishful thinking that this matter was more or less scaring themselves. However, Su Yun knew very well that this was just like a storm on the sea. Before the storm arrived, everything would be calm and the weather would definitely be fine and sunny. When the storm appeared, it would be 2 completely different situations from before. Everything was like this. Before the storm, it would be quiet. However, the quieter it was, the more terrifying the storm would be. Su Yun and Jiang Zishue were facing this situation now. He knew in his heart that this storm was definitely not small. He needed to be ready to face all of this at any time. Next, he could only take one step at a time. How could Jiang Zishue not have a lot of thoughts? She rejected Su Yun's invitation not only because she didn't want to be followed and watched by others. Another reason was the main reason why Jiang Zishue rejected Su Yun's invitation. She was a little at a loss. It could even be said that she didn't know whether she should continue to trouble Su Yun. When she realized that there were a lot of things that she couldn't remember, she knew that it was definitely not just a little trouble behind her. This trouble was so big that she couldn't bear it at all. It was so big that she would implicate Su Yun. Su Yun's unconditional help really touched Jiang Zishue. She could feel that Su Yun was sincerely helping her. If Su Yun was sincerely helping her, she didn't want to trouble Su Yun. People were all in the same shoes. There was no love without reason, and there was no hatred without reason. When Jiang Zishue felt Su Yun's sincere help, she would open her heart and treat Su Yun more sincerely. She rejected Su Yun because she didn't want to bring trouble to Su Yun. Even if Su Yun was the person whom Zhuo Langyue entrusted her to, it meant that Zhuo Langyue believed that Su Yun was capable of protecting her. However, Jiang Zishue was still worried about Su Yun. Before this, Jiang Zishue had never seemed to worry about anyone. Facing the long night, Jiang Zishue sat in front of the hotel window. She didn't even dare to turn on any of the lights in the room. Looking at the brightly lit streets outside, Jiang Zishue let out a long, deep breath. It seemed that a long time ago, she had also felt this way. She was locked in her room alone and could only look at the colorful world outside. Jiang Zishue suddenly hugged her head and knelt on the ground in pain. Some of the memories in her subconscious caused her unbearable pain. What the hell is going on? Why did she forget so many things? And every time he tried to recall these things, he would face such great pain. Jiang Zishue couldn't get used to the intense pain. After a long time, she finally calmed herself down. She didn't even dare to look out of the window. That feeling just now was worse than death. Jiang Zishue didn't know how she managed to get through the night. After returning home, Su Yun was in a much better mood. Ruan Qingxuang, Zhuo Meiyan, Yi Fala, and Bai Xiaoye were sitting at a table of mahjong. Chou Yun, who wasn't interested in these things, sat behind Ruan Qingxuang curiously. Looking at Chou Yun's expression, it was obvious that she was studying very seriously. Qianhu 18 Arhats Grade 4 Happiness 8 Flowers Consecutive Bar Flowers. They had only just picked up the tiles. As the banker, Yi Fala couldn't stop smiling. Facing these three rookies, if she wanted to win, she only needed to do some tricks when shuffling the tiles. There was no mahjong table here, so the tiles couldn't be automatically shuffled. After the game, Ruan Qingxuang went to the washroom, Zhuo Meiyan went to pour coffee, and Bai Xiaoye went to get snacks. Only Yi Fala and Chou Yun were present. Yi Fala asked Chou Yun if she wanted to see the biggest winning tile in mahjong. Of course, Chou Yun wouldn't refuse. She immediately nodded. Then, Yi Fala did a little trick to arrange the cards. When she rolled, she only needed to roll 3, and she would be able to directly grab Tian Hu's cards. This little trick wasn't a big problem for Yi Fala. It was very simple. When Yi Fala pushed the tiles aside, Chou Yun's jaw almost dropped. East 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 east, south south south, west west west, north north north, fa fa. Other than Chou Yun, the others were also in disbelief. Bai Xiaoye's eyeballs almost fell out. She had never seen such a winning tile before. Yi Fala said proudly, "Let's count it, haha." Qianhu, the 18 Arhats, also known as the 4 bars. 4 big fortunes, 4 big joys, 4 dark engravings, 4 dark bars, all in one color, all in one color, all in one color, all in one, blooming on the bars, all in one, the banker. Then, she looked at Chou Yun and said, "This is the biggest winning tile in mahjong." This works. Bai Xiaoye said, "Sister Yezi, if you don't develop your hands in the gambling world, wouldn't it be a waste?" Ruan Qingxuang also recovered from the shock and said, How many times will it be?" Su Yun came over and asked, "How much are you playing?" 100. Ruan Qingxuang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This was her first time playing mahjong with money. If it's calculated by 2 to the power of n. Su Yun coughed softly and said, "I'm afraid that all the wealth in the world will belong to her. You guys are going to lose a lot." Zhuo Meiyan was the only one who saw the problem. If Yezi shuffles the tiles herself, she won't even need to go 1 round. She'll lose the rest of her life in 1 round. Ha ha ha, the rule of the mahjong table is that you can't leave the table and let others shuffle the tiles when you can't see. Yi Fala said, "Otherwise, you'll really lose until you cry." At this moment, the others suddenly realized that Yi Fala had done something. "Chou Yun, you've seen the biggest winning tile in mahjong," Zhuo Meiyan joked. Zhuo Meiyan joked, "Now it's time to experience the consequences of being caught cheating, humph." Yi Fala didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I'm just joking." "That won't do." Zhuo Meiyan said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have to prepare supper for 6 people. This punishment is good. I accept it. Yi Fala stood up with a smile. "Let me do it." Ruan Qingxuang stood up. She felt that Yi Fala was a guest after all. To a certain extent, Ruan Qingxuang was more aware of her identity as the host. Yi Fala waved her hand. "Rules are rules. You have to accept the punishment you deserve." "Then I'll help you," Ruan Qingxuang said. Big sister Yezi is going to cook. Bai Xiaoye, your little sister Yezi, quickly tidy up, Zuomian ordered. Bai Xiaoye stuck out her tongue and quickly put away the mahjong tiles. Yes. President Zua. Please take a seat first. I'll bring you some tea later. That's more like my sister. Zuomian laughed. Forget it. Let me tidy up. Look at your brother's eyes. He clearly doesn't like me bullying his sister. Chou Yun also stood up with a smile and helped Bai Xiaoye tidy up the mahjong tiles. Go. He must have something to talk to you about. Bai Xiaoye turned to look at Su Yun. What's the situation? They know your brother better than you. Su Yun, they can tell what I'm thinking just by looking at my eyes. Come here. I'll leave this to them. I have something to talk to you about. Bai Xiaoye put down the things in her hands and quickly followed Su Yun to his room. What's the matter? Why are you in such a hurry? Chapter 2585. Su Yun went straight to the point. How much do you know about the Big Dipper family? That's all I know, Bai Xiaoye said. You want to ask about Zhang Zixue, right? The Zhang family is the head of the Big Dipper family, but they left a long time ago. What else do you know? Su Yun asked. Since Little Mom is friends with the Zhang family, you must know Zhang Zixue as well. Bai Xiaoye nodded. Yes, I know Zhang Zixue. She comes to Yanjing every winter, and we meet once a year. Although we're not very familiar with each other, we can be considered friends. After a pause, Bai Xiaoye continued, but she doesn't seem to have any impression of me because the Zhang family hasn't returned to Huaxia in the past 5 years. Also, I suspect that she has selective amnesia. There's no doubt that she has selective amnesia, Su Yun said. She doesn't know anything about her family's conflict. Then it seems that my guess is correct, Bai Xiaoye said. As for the Big Dipper family, I really don't know much about it. I only know that they have conflicts. Su Yun nodded. Bai Xiaoye probably only knew this, and she didn't know much more than him. If Bai Xiaoye knew more than him, she would have told him long ago. Bai Xiaoye couldn't provide more help. Su Yun sighed. It seems that Little Mom is the only one who knows about the Big Dipper family. But why didn't my mother tell you everything she knew? Bai Xiaoye asked. Su Yun shook his head. I'm not sure either. Maybe she didn't want me to know too much. Or maybe she didn't have enough time to tell me everything. Or maybe she trusted your ability too much and thought that you could handle everything, Bai Xiaoye said. Both are possible. Then she's too careless. Su Yun couldn't do anything about it, but it was really possible. No matter what, we can only face what has already happened. Bai Xiaoye said, no one can ask for help now. She doesn't know anything herself. If this selective amnesia forces her to remember something, it will be very painful. Su Yun had already seen how painful it would be. It was definitely the kind that could make people collapse. Therefore, Su Yun did not expect Zhang Zixue to suddenly be enlightened and be able to remember and understand everything clearly. Another reason was that Zhua Langyue didn't mention this to Su Yun. Perhaps she didn't want Su Yun to help Zhang Zixue remember the past. Zhua Langyue hoped that Su Yun could help Zhang Zixue fabricate a situation. It made Zhang Zixue really think of herself as a girl who was chasing after her dreams. If not for those troubles and threats, Su Yun would definitely deal with it according to Zhua Langyue's expectation. However, Su Yun was afraid that he really didn't have a way to deal with those troubles while Zhang Zixue was still living in her own fantasy. Su Yun was also at his wit's end when faced with an opponent who didn't know anything. If it was anyone else in this situation, they would also be at their wit's end. If necessary, let Zhang Zixue move in with us. Bai Xiaoye said, that way, she will be safer, and it will be more convenient for us to take care of her. Ruan Qingxuang and Yi Fala had finished preparing supper. Zhuo Meiyan came over to invite them to eat and overheard their conversation. That's right. If necessary, bring her here. Zhuo Meiyan said, no matter what, She is someone the Empress wants you to take care of. Su Yun didn't care whether she was the Empress or not. The main reason was that the Empress was his stepmother. This was something his father's woman had told him to take good care of. Furthermore, Zhuolangyue also said that Su Yun should do all these and that he owed her a favor. Did that mean that Su Yun owed the Jiang family something? However, Su Yun didn't know who Jiang Zishua was, nor had he heard anything about the Jiang family. He had been with Zhang Taisui since he was born and joined the Dragon Brigade when he was sensible. He had nothing to do with the Jiang family. Unless his father owed them a favor, Su Yun really couldn't think of anything he owed the Jiang family. But no matter what, even if his unreliable father owed the Jiang family a favor, Su Yun still had to repay what should be repaid. Otherwise, he wouldn't be Su Chen's son. I did ask her to come here, but she refused. But she refused, Su Yun said. Zhua Meiyan said, did you not tell her that you have a big family? Don't let her misunderstand that you are alone. Otherwise, she definitely won't come. I didn't say that. However, I'm sure that's not the reason she refused. She must have other reasons. Su Yun said, she clearly doesn't care about what others think. Then it's not easy to solve. Zhua Meiyan said, but you don't have to worry too much. After all, there are so many of us here. Bai Xiaoye also said, yes, if you can't solve the problem by yourself, we will help you. Su Yun smiled. Fortunately, there was everyone. Let's go and eat something. You didn't have a good meal tonight. Your stomach must have been very bad recently. Zhua Meiyan said, Qing Shuang knows you better. She knows what's suitable for you to eat and what's not. To be taken care of by Ruan Qing was definitely Su Yun's greatest fortune in his life. I'm really afraid that she will take care of me too well. Su Yun said, if that's the case, I really won't know what to do when no one takes care of me. I'll enjoy as much as I can, Bai Xiaoye said. Don't say it as if you don't have a sister to take care of you. No matter what, you're still my brother. Even if no one takes care of you in the future, there's still me, right? Su Yun glanced at Bai Xiaoye. You're the most unreliable. When you get married, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for me to even see you. Don't make it sound so tragic. Bai Xiaoye said, you're not that pitiful yet. Look at how many people are fighting to take care of you now. After eating supper, they washed up and went to bed early. There were still many things waiting for them to deal with tomorrow. Su Yun also went to bed early. There were too many things that he couldn't think through, so he simply didn't think about anything. Once he fell asleep, all his worries would disappear. Fortunately, Su Yun was quite good at this. The speed at which he forced himself to sleep was very fast. The next morning, after breakfast, they sent off Yi Fala, Chong, and the others. After all, they still had work to do in Shenzhen. After that, the others went to the company to do their work. After Zhua Meiyan and Ruan Qingshuang came to Qingdao, almost all of Su Yun's work was shared. Su Yun could spare time to deal with Jiang Zishue's matter. Since they had agreed to go with Jiang Zishue to look at cars, Su Yun went to the hotel with Bai Xiaoye. Jiang Zishue, who hadn't slept for almost the entire night, looked a little haggard. After a simple meal, Su Yun led her to a 4S car shop on Qingdao. The car brands here were very comprehensive. Almost all the mass-market brands were available. There were all kinds of domestic joint ventures. Even though Jiang Zishue owned a Ferrari, she didn't know anything about cars. Especially since she didn't know about domestic cars, she could only rely on Su Yun to guide her. The main purpose of her visit was to choose an absolutely low-key car. Therefore, she went straight for the locally produced cars. Su Yun was quite surprised by this. It was really rare for rich people to choose locally produced cars. Chapter 2586. Are you sure you want to choose locally produced cars? Su Yun asked. Jiang Zishue nodded. Of course. Our goal is to keep a low profile, right? To keep a low profile, we can only choose locally produced cars. Su Yun wasn't trying to blackmail domestic products. He obviously supported domestic products, but he just hoped that domestic products wouldn't be so disappointing. Take cars as an example. Some car companies were indeed too black-hearted. If you bought a cheap car because you were greedy, the clutch, gearbox, oil pump, and even the brake system would all be broken within a year. She didn't criticize. She just wanted to be realistic. Perhaps many people would say that Su Yun was being too one-sided. This was because many people who cherished driving had never had any problems even after driving a domestic car for 3 to 5 years. But this is the truth. After all, local car manufacturers are still weak, and they do not have many core technologies. They are very reliant on overseas engineering, technologies, and assistance. To put it bluntly, anyone who really understood cars could dismantle some of the domestic cars to find out how many of the chassis of the cars were purchased directly from foreign countries. How many of the car engines were used overseas for more than 10 years? Why? This is because the local car manufacturers are too eager for quick success, and many of the independent car manufacturers are too focused on reverse engineering. Their goal is to make quick money, and this caused their technologies to stagnate. These independent car manufacturers should spend more money on research and not spend it on the internet. Car manufacturers will not be able to afford a lousy car. There was another very important reason. In any circle in China, it was believed that foreign monks knew how to chant sutras. Just like in the online literature circle, the treatment of outdated writers from outside was better than that of the local writers. The independent car manufacturers had also made the same mistake. They tend to bring in the mid to low level personnel from the US. Those personnel who return from Detroit are their top management, but they are not up to the standards of the top management. Huaxia's automobile manufacturers are very aggressive in hiring overseas personnel. If these people are capable, Detroit will not be in such a state. In the end, the assembly process is not up to standard. Even if they had purchased internationally renowned parts, the assembly standard, materials, system integration, and paint are still disappointing. This was why Su Yun was disappointed in domestic brands. He didn't have any intention of criticizing domestic cars, nor did he have any intention of promoting imported cars. I think you should still take a look at joint venture cars. There's a reason why I don't recommend you buy a domestic car, Su Yun said. I'm worried that someone like you who's used to driving luxury cars will suddenly fall behind. There's not much of a difference between 5 or 6 million to 50 or 60,000 or 100,000. Jiang Zixue insisted. I want to support domestic products. Domestic products should be self-reliant. If someone wanted to attack him by supporting the boycott of Japanese products, then Su Yun could also tell these people that there were 30 Japanese companies in the world's top 100 automobile part suppliers list. However, Huaxia did not have a single family. Among the top 100 automotive part suppliers in the world, the US and Japan each had 30 suppliers, followed closely by Germany with 17 suppliers. Therefore, those who owned a German car should not be too arrogant and look down on other car manufacturers. There was one thing that had to be admitted. In the global automotive industry chain, Japan played the role of the basic parts production base. For example, the automatic transmission, including the European and American models, as well as many other key components, were actually produced locally in Japan. Therefore, one should never drive a domestic car and insult those who owned a Japanese car as traitors. In fact, the Japanese parts used in your car were similar to the Japanese parts used in the joint venture Japanese cars. It would be good if domestic products were self-reliant. Su Yun shook his head helplessly. This is just my personal opinion. Now, domestic products are using the patriotic card to earn money from their own people. Domestic cars are so cheap. How can they earn money? Jiang Zixue said, Stop fooling around. Su Yun laughed. If I remember correctly, our Huaxia's per capita GDP should only be about 40,000 RMB. The US empires should be about 50,000 USD, right? Jiang Zixue nodded. That's right. The US empire and Canada are about the same. Both have about 50,000 USD. Well, this thing is related to income. Su Yun, what kind of car can an old beauty buy with 50,000 USD per capita GDP? Mercedes-Benz CLA 45 AMG, the world's most powerful four-cylinder engine, 48,000 USD. Ford Mustang GT 5 0-liter V8 engine, 32,000 USD. Chevrolet Camaro SS 6 2-liter V8 engine, 35,000 USD. Subaru WRX 2 5-liter turbocharged straight-four engine, 26,000 USD. Zhang Zishue was shocked. You know quite a lot. Seems like I was right to give that Ferrari away. They have a per capita GDP of more than 50,000 USD. They can casually choose these performance cars. Su Yun, look at Huaxia. Their per capita GDP is about 40,000 RMB. Do you want me to talk about cars that cost more than 40,000 RMB? Zhang Zishue nodded. She was here to choose domestic cars at this price. Of course, she was all ears. I want to buy cars below 50,000 USD. Beijing Auto Weiwang Minivan, Changhe Frida Minivan, Chang'an Minivan, Dongfeng Minivan, Jinbei Minivan, Wuling Hongguang Minivan, Hefei Minivan or Minivan. Su Yun shook his head helplessly. Other than minivans, there are only small cars like BYD's Dandan, Baojuan's Lechi, Chery's QQ, Geely's Panda, Zhonghui's Ye, and Zhongtai's Zhongnan TT. You can't even buy a top-notch car with 40,000 RMB, let alone the performance. Zhang Zishue opened her mouth wide. I don't know how to drive a minivan. I didn't ask you to buy a minivan. Su Yun, but you said you want to buy a car below 50,000 USD. There aren't many choices. No way. I don't have any confidence after hearing what you said. Zhang Zishue said, but if you put it this way, I suddenly feel that Huaxia is very rich. There are too many people who drive luxury cars. Huaxia is indeed rich. Su Yun, and they care about their reputation. Zhang Zishue smiled. She knew this very well. Many people who earn 1 or 2,000 RMB a month also drive cars. Their income can't even compare to the poor people in North America who rely on government aid. Then what car do you suggest I buy? Zhang Zishue asked. Su Yun shrugged. Up to you. It depends on what you like. If you support domestic products, I will support you too. I can only hope that the money you use to support domestic products can be used for research and development, innovation, and technology, instead of stuffing the money into the pockets of the leaders. Then, they can continue to use those outdated technologies to fool their own people. Zhang Zishue laughed. If they are all conscientious automobile manufacturers, they will not let joint venture cars occupy Huaxia's market for so many years. That's right. Think about it. Volkswagen's broken axle can sell so well in Huaxia. Audi's oil-burning cars can sell so well in Huaxia. Buick's gas-guzzling cars can sell so well in Huaxia. Why? Su Yun, it's because our own brands are not good enough. Zhang Zishue stuck out her tongue. I think you should gather the bosses of our own brands and hold a meeting with them. Let them know their shortcomings and what mistakes they made. I want to do that too, but those leaders will not listen to others. Su Yun, they are all arrogant and conceited. They don't know that patriotism will last forever. Consumers are not fools. Zhang Zishue said. Everyone knows that. Su Yun laughed. But I think that since you have not supported domestic products, you should support them. Zhang Zishue nodded. If I feel that I have been cheated, I will not support them in the future. I will let them fend for themselves. That's right. Anyway, they will not give back to the Chinese. Just like Harvard. They are supported by the Chinese, but their prices keep increasing. Even the cheapest H1 is selling for 70,000 renminbi. Su Yun, our own automobile manufacturers will be destroyed by them sooner or later. Chapter 2587. Then let's go to Haver first. Jiang Zishue said, let's see how the SUV leaders trained by Hua Xia become big and strong. Su Yun immediately drove the car to the entrance of Haver's 4S store. After the two of them got out of the car and walked into the store, no one greeted them. The salesperson looked at them with the same gaze as those guys in Audi who had nostrils on top of their heads. It was as if they didn't care if they bought it or not. This was quite a problematic attitude. It seemed that as long as the car sold well, the salesperson didn't care about talking nonsense with you. If they didn't buy it, there were others who would buy it. This was just like Volkswagen a few years ago. When the Tiguan and Golf were first launched, good lord, they increased the price by 20,000, 30,000, and there were still people who bought it happily. Look at the car, what price are you looking at? Let me introduce it to you. The salesperson said with a fake smile on his face. The cheaper one, the more cost-effective one, Jiang Zishue said. The salesperson ignored them even more when he heard the word cheap. The cars here are all cost-effective, but we don't have those cheap ones. Those 30,000-50, 000 yuan cars can't be considered cars at all. They can't be driven. Then I see a lot of BYD F0 on the road. Jiang Zishue said, aren't they all driving it? Only you know your own car. Whoever drives it knows in their heart how bad it is. The salesperson said, we don't have that kind of car in Haver. Su Yun smiled. Cooking beans and burning beans, the beans cry in the pot. We are born from the same root, why are we so anxious to destroy each other? The salesperson was stunned. Yo, handsome, what do you mean by this poem? He's saying that they are all domestically produced cars. Is there a need to cheat others? Jiang Zishue explained with a smile. You can't say that. They are all domestic cars, so there are differences, okay? The salesperson said, our Haver is definitely the leader in the territory of Huaxia's SUVs. Our position is like Jeep's position in the United States, unshakable. Sorry. Su Yun. Let me interrupt you. I don't know if you've been to the US, but you're comparing Harvard status in Huaxia to Jeep status in the US. That's self-deprecating. The salesperson was a little dumbfounded. He didn't understand what Su Yun was trying to say. BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi are high-end brands all over the world. Su Yun said, in the US, there are other big brands like Cadillac, Chevrolet, Ford, and some Japanese Toyotas and Hondas. The Jeep doesn't seem to have any other advantages except for the Wrangler. The salesman grinned. He knew that he had met an expert who knew cars. Then you can't deny our position as an independent brand. Of course, I'm indeed a leader, Su Yun said. Are there any discounts? There aren't any discounts, the salesperson said. There are only some minor modifications. Su Yun smiled. Then forget it. The economy hasn't been good for the past 2 years. It's a little too much to add modifications without any discounts. Even if the economy isn't good, you still have to look at the car, the salesperson said. If you don't have money, don't look at Harvard. Look at the cheaper ones. No one could tolerate this attitude. Jiang Zishue turned around and left. She had never been treated like this before. It was just a car. He made it sound like no one could afford it. Don't regret buying a cheap car, the salesperson said. You'll be asking for trouble if you go to the repair shop in the future. Thank you for the reminder. Su Yun also turned around and left. The salesperson's job was to send the customer out. However, this salesperson wasn't that dedicated, but he still sent them out. However, the purpose of this salesperson wasn't to send them out. He wanted to see what kind of lousy car these two people were driving. At the same time, he wanted to provoke them with some words. But once they left, the salesperson was dumbfounded. Su Yun and Jiang Zishue walked straight to the Cayenne. The salesperson suddenly realized that he had made a mistake. This was definitely not the kind of person who just came to look and couldn't afford it. The cost of maintaining this Cayenne for a year was probably enough to buy their main H6. Toot toot. The salesperson still wanted to say something to persuade them to stay, but it was too late. Su Yun drove Jiang Zishue to another place. After this morning's visit and selection, Jiang Zishue was very dissatisfied with the service of her own brand. This wasn't a problem with the salesperson, but it was a problem with the management of the company. Without strict management, without their own culture, it was impossible to get any good reviews by hiring two people to sell their own things as cheap vegetables. In the end, Jiang Zishue decided to give her own brand a chance. She bought a new top-of-the-line BYD F0 for 40,000 yuan. Although the reputation of this car wasn't good, the price was cheap and affordable, so the sales were quite high. After paying the money, the two left. Jiang Zishue was quite satisfied. Although the car didn't have much in terms of appearance and interior, it was indeed low-key. No matter where she drove this car, no one would take a second look after getting out of the car. The general view of Huaxia people was that people who drove this kind of car were poor. However, there were also many people like Jiang Zishue who just used it as a low-key means of transportation. Moreover, the car was small, so it was convenient to go anywhere. Now that the streets were full of traffic jams, it wasn't easy to park and turn anywhere. It was much more convenient to have such a small thing. Jiang Zishue was still very satisfied with this. It's quite good. It seems that our own brand isn't as bad as you said. Maybe I love our own brand too much, so I expected better from you. Su Yun smiled. It's good that you're satisfied. I think it's quite suitable. However, there was still one thing that made Su Yun feel uneasy. If Jiang Zishue really met people who wanted to harm her on the road, she wouldn't be able to escape no matter how good her driving skills were. The car's top speed was only about 100 kilometers per hour. Thank you for your hard work today. What do you want to eat? I'll treat you. Jiang Zishue said, let's go to the buffet. I'm a little hungry. Let's go to Gold Leopard. Su Yun said, how can I let you treat me in my territory? Then I won't stand on ceremony with you. Jiang Zishue smiled. She drove the new car and followed Su Yun to the buffet restaurant with satisfaction. This place was quite good, and the price was reasonable. It was 198 yuan per person. At least the food inside was worth it. After lunch, Jiang Zishue went back to the hotel. She wanted to sleep now. She didn't sleep at all last night. After her mood recovered, she felt very sleepy. Su Yun also went back to the company directly. He decided to let Lin Gur and Jie Su take care of Jiang Zishue while he went out to meet someone. Because when he went to Gold Leopard for the buffet today, Su Yun thought of someone. Jin Gui. He was the leader of the Yen Men's Flying Daggers. Although he had retired from the underworld, if Su Yun went to meet him, he should still give him face. As for why Su Yun wanted to meet Jin Gui, it was a long time ago. When he was young, he went to visit Jin Gui with Zhang Taisui. When he was in the Dragon Brigade, he also went to visit Jin Gui with Wang Yi. He vaguely remembered a person about his age, who served them tea at that time. There was a tattoo on the back of that person's neck, and the pattern seemed to be the pattern of the Big Dipper. However, this matter happened too long ago. The last time he went to Jin Gui's place was more than 10 years ago. Therefore, Su Yun really couldn't remember it clearly. It was just a very, very vague impression. However, even if it was just a vague impression, Su Yun still didn't want to miss it. Chapter 2588. In Qingdao, the Intercontinental Ocean Hotel was definitely one of the top luxurious hotels. It could even be said that it was very famous in the entire province. There weren't many hotels that could be compared to this one. In the luxurious presidential suite of the Intercontinental Ocean Hotel, a woman in her 30s with heavy makeup stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window with a red wine glass in her hand. She was wearing high heels and was looking at the sea view outside. The red wine was swirling in the glass as her gaze fell on it. When the wine in the glass slowly calmed down, the woman suddenly exploded. She turned around and flew into a rage. She swung her hand and smashed the red wine glass on the floor. Although the wine glass didn't shatter because of the carpet, the red wine in the glass was quickly absorbed by the carpet. What's the use of raising trash like you? The woman stared coldly at the two men kneeling in front of her. The two men kneeling on the floor didn't say a word. They just lowered their heads deeply, afraid that any words or deeds they said would cause them to be severely reprimanded. You can't even find such a small woman. Qingdao is such a small place. The woman said, Are you disabled? Are you blind? Seeing that the two men didn't speak, the woman seemed to be even angrier. She stepped forward and ruthlessly stomped on one of their shoulders. That man immediately lay on the ground in pain. The thin high heels had very concentrated stress points. Being stomped on was enough to make a person feel pain for a long time. Trash. The woman angrily reprimanded. Say something. Give me a reason not to punish you. If you can't satisfy me, I will take your worthless lives right now. Miss Tao, we have already done our best. Please give us another chance. They didn't dare to find a reason. If they did, they might be punished even more severely. Tell me why you can't find her. Don't you understand? The woman glared at them. Although they would be punished even more severely after finding a reason, she had to find a reason now. The two of them had no other choice. Miss Tao, you should know that the Empress met her in Huaxia. It was really difficult for us to find her. The man who was being stepped on said, We tampered with all the properties of the Zhong family in the country. Of course I know. The high-heeled girl said, Someone appeared in her house in Qingdao, and the car in the garage of the house in Qingdao disappeared. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come here. The man lowered his head to the ground again. Since the car is equipped with GPS, why did you lose him? The high-heeled girl screamed hysterically, What else can you do? The other man didn't dare to raise his head, afraid that Miss Tao's high heels would stomp on his face. The GPS in the car has been discovered. Discovered? How was he discovered? What do I need you for? You haven't found him yet, but you've been discovered instead. What did you guys eat to grow up? Do you have a brain? Miss Tao's temper was really bad. We did follow the car, but the person in the car wasn't Zhang Zixue at all. The man continued, We were tricked. Miss Tao bent down and slapped the man's face. You've been discovered? Have we been exposed? No. The man didn't dare to say anything after being hit. We didn't show up directly. Instead, we found a few gangsters to do it, so we weren't exposed. You just didn't expose your identities, but your whereabouts and purpose have been exposed. Miss Tao snorted. I really don't want to waste my breath on you right now. The two men continued to kneel. Their hearts were in their throats. Miss Tao couldn't sit still. She walked to the window again, took a deep breath, and said, I don't care who is protecting her on Qingdao. You have to bring her to me no matter what. Yes, Miss Tao. We will do our best. I don't want you to do your best. I don't want your guarantee. I want results. Results, do you understand? Miss Tao turned around angrily. Results. As for the process, I don't care at all. After venting her anger, Miss Tao's mood seemed to have calmed down a lot. She picked up a bottle of Lafite from the table, walked to the wine cabinet, and took a glass of red wine. She poured it into the glass and took a sip. It seemed like only the sweetness of the wine could make her feel better. She didn't say anything. The two men kneeling on the ground didn't dare to say anything either. They just kept kneeling like that. After tasting the red wine for more than 10 minutes, Miss Tao finally spoke again. All right, you can both stand up. Only then did the two men dare to stand up. Thank you, Miss Tao. I'll give you another chance because of your loyalty. I hope you can seize the chance I'm giving you. Miss Tao drank all the red wine in the glass. Don't disappoint me again. Do you understand? We will definitely. The two men wanted to promise something, but they didn't dare to say it out loud. To their master, a guarantee meant nothing at all. Miss Tao, then what's our next plan? The man who was hit asked carefully. The smile on Miss Tao's face froze again. Her mood was just like the weather in June. It could change at any moment. You're asking me? Miss Tao's gaze turned cold again. My plan is to bring you to Huaxia, then let you solve the problem I want you to solve in Huaxia. The two men didn't dare to say anything. They quickly lowered their heads. You're asking me what my plan is? Miss Tao snorted. I should be the one asking you that. I raise you to do things for me. You want a plan from me? I'm sorry, Miss Tao. I know I was wrong. I will definitely come up with a new detailed plan. The man quickly said. Miss Tao shook her head and said in disappointment, You don't even have a plan until now. How dare you stand in front of me and promise? I really overestimated you guys. We were wrong. We shouldn't have done this. The two men were frightened. Don't worry, Miss Tao. What do you want me to worry about? Miss Tao asked. Answer me. The two men didn't know how to answer. They could only lower their heads and let Miss Tao reprimand them. All right. Since you don't know what you want me to worry about, then I'll tell you. You have to give me your heads. Miss Tao said, I can give you enough time. Not 3 days, not 5 days. I'll give you 10 days. 10 days. The two men stood straight and didn't dare to move. I've already given you 10 days. This is the second 10 days. If you can't bring Jiang Zishua to me in 10 days, then leave your heads behind, Miss Tao said. I'm not joking with you. You better be serious. Yes. The two men knew that they didn't have much time left. They also didn't have many chances left. They knew very well what kind of person Miss Tao was. Therefore, she really dared to do what she said. If they couldn't solve the problem, then they would be the ones to die. By then, no one would be able to help them. If they couldn't solve the problem, only death would await them. Remember my words. Think carefully today, Miss Tao said. I won't waste any more time on 2 pieces of trash. Therefore, you have to quickly prove your worth. She took a sip of wine and added, Prove that you are worthy of living in this world. Do you understand? The two men only dared to nod. I want you to tell me loudly. Do you understand? Miss Tao suddenly raised her voice. Understood. If you understand, then scram. Chapter 2589. The two frightened men quickly turned around and left Miss Tao's room. Today was Tao Yinan's 36th birthday, but she couldn't spend a romantic night with her boyfriend. All of this was Jiang Zishue's fault. If Jiang Zishue hadn't traveled from Canada to Huaxia, she wouldn't have had to waste so much energy. Tao Yinan didn't like the climate of Huaxia, especially the climate of a seaside city like Qingdao. Compared to these, she preferred her life in Russia. Even though Russia wasn't the largest city in Russia and wasn't the most prosperous place, the weather there was what she liked the most. It was cold, but it was so cold that it was different. This bottle of red wine was a birthday present that she had given to herself, and no one here knew her birthday. Of course, Tao Yinan didn't care about these things. What she couldn't forgive was that her boyfriend hadn't called her to give her a birthday surprise. Even though Russian men weren't as romantic as French men, they were definitely more romantic than men from Huaxia, right? As a result, Tao Yinan was really unhappy today. She hated that this matter had landed on her, but there were some things that one had to accept defeat. Even though the 6 great families had completely broken off relations with the Jiang family, no one was willing to do such a thing. After all, this kind of thing was too immoral. Helplessly, the final decision still landed on the Tao family. Tao Yinan really didn't want to believe in this kind of luck. It was really too wasteful. She reached out and touched the back of her neck. There was still a faint pain. This was already the 2nd year since she had washed off the 7-star tattoo. However, no matter how good the washing technique was, there would still be some traces left behind. Furthermore, the pain of washing off the tattoo was absolutely heart-wrenching. As a result, Tao Yinan was very concerned about this matter. The 6 great families from all over the world gathered in Montreal for only one purpose, and that was to completely wipe out the Jiang family. This was because they knew that as long as the Jiang family was around, they wouldn't be able to maximize their benefits. Therefore, it was imperative to wipe out the Jiang family long ago. The 6 great families were all waiting for the right time to take action without hesitation. However, they never expected that this matter would actually cause such a huge shock. Even the Empress was involved in this matter. This was something that the Tao family and the other big families were completely unprepared for. If the 5 war gods hadn't joined in at the last moment, the Jiang family would have been eradicated long ago. The 7-Star Radiance was an alliance of the 7 largest families in the underground world. Even without the Jiang family, the other 6 families were still very powerful. Therefore, even the Empress had to give him some face. She didn't personally deal with this matter and only arranged for the 5 war gods to solve the problem. Most importantly, everyone in the underground world knew that other than Empress Zuolangyue, it was impossible for anyone to invite the 5 war gods. Her interference also caused the Tao family and the other families to stop and observe. No one would want to provoke the Empress unless they were tired of living. No matter how powerful and influential these big families were, it was impossible for them to resist the power of the Empress by themselves. Therefore, they had to stick together tightly. The Empress wouldn't dare to act blindly without thinking as long as they stuck together tightly enough. Only when they were united as one would they not give Zuolangyue the opportunity to defeat them one by one. Until now, Tao Yinan still didn't understand the relationship between Zuolangyue and the Jiang family. She also didn't understand why Zuolangyue wanted to help the Jiang family. After all, the 7 big families in the 7-Star Radiance should have the same relationship with her. Back then, when the internal strife in the 7-Star Radiance wasn't so obvious, everyone would gather together every time they met. At that time, absolutely no one would think that Zuolangyue had any closer relationship with the Jiang family. The matter of the 6 big families isolating the Jiang family was no longer a secret. It could even be said that this relationship was very obvious 10 years ago. As the leader of the 7 big families, the Jiang family, who stayed behind in Huaxia and oversaw Yanjing, had no choice but to move out of Yanjing to Canada, where no one cared about them. Even though Canada was a wealthy country that was suitable for human habitation, its population was limited after all. A country with a population of 35 million people wasn't very attractive to the business of the 7 big families. Therefore, when the Jiang family moved to Canada, they originally thought that it would be very safe. Unfortunately, this safety was completely useless. Until now, the other families still wouldn't let them off. The reason was very simple. No matter where they went, the control of some business was still in their hands. Many things were laid down by the Jiang family. Therefore, this was what made the other 6 big families unhappy the most. For so many years, the 6 big families revolved around the Jiang family as the center. However, in the end, they found that the Jiang family only treated them as lackeys. They didn't really treat them as their business partners at all. No one would be able to accept this, and everyone would suffer from a very unpleasant psychological stimulation. The 6 big families couldn't accept this at all. For so many years, they were like people outside the circle. Only the Jiang family controlled all the central information. However, in terms of providing money, manpower, the 6 big families were always the same. No one did less. This feeling of unfairness caused the 6 big families to turn against the Jiang family. When they had been blinded by benefits, they had long forgotten that it was the Jiang family who brought them into this big circle. Without the Jiang family, they wouldn't even have today. But at this time, all this was no longer important. What was important was how they could completely seize all the rights. No one would hate having more rights in their hands. No one would hate having more benefits. Everyone had spent their days in constant struggle, and through constant struggle, they had obtained the strength of their clans. The 7-Star Radiance, this seemingly invincible alliance of the 7 big families, was so beautiful to outsiders. But what did it mean to them? This was probably something that only they knew. Each of them had their own different ideas in their hearts. When this kind of internal struggle appeared in the seemingly powerful 7-star radiance, the other 6 big families actually had their own plans. They were very clear that whoever could get the most benefits from dealing with the Jiang family this time would become the leader of their circle. No one didn't want to be the leader. No one didn't want to be the leader of the remaining 6 big families. This was the most beautiful candy in a high position. No one didn't want to pick it and put it in their mouth. As long as they could pick it and put it in their mouth, they would be the most successful winner. It was just that until now, no one dared to take the lead. No one wanted to be the second target of public criticism. Even the powerful Jiang clan couldn't withstand the siege of the 6 great clans. Although this method of extermination was excessive, it was indeed the last resort of the 6 great clans. If they didn't do this, the Jiang family could find other allies and establish a new system. At that time, the other 6 big families would be the ones to suffer. Therefore, they had no choice but to strike first. Before the Jiang family found an ally that they could completely trust, they had to take action. They couldn't wait. They really couldn't wait. Cutting the weeds and eliminating the roots was the goal of the 6 big families this time. Jiang Zixue was the only fish that escaped the net. She was able to successfully escape the net because of Empress Zualangyue's intervention. There was no one that the 5 war gods couldn't protect if they wanted to. Chapter 2590. Zualangyue's intervention in this matter wasn't above board because she didn't have the need and authority to meddle in it. After all, this was an internal matter of the 7-star radiance. Even if Zualangyue was the empress, the head of the 3 emperors, she had no reason to meddle in other people's family matters. It was precisely because of this that no matter how excessive the actions of the 6 great clans were, Zualangyue could only watch coldly from the sidelines and give some support to the Jiang family behind the scenes. When she found out about this matter, it was already too late. If she had known earlier, perhaps with Zualangyue's power, she could have helped the Jiang family avoid a disaster. The Jiang family's disaster was irreversible. Zualangyue could only try her best to protect Jiang Zixue so that she wouldn't feel so guilty. Throughout the entire process, the 6 great clans knew that Zualangyue had intervened, but no one dared to say anything because Zualangyue dealt with this matter in a low-key manner. If she didn't say anything, no one would dare to say anything first. This was a method that Zualangyue had no other choice. In order to stand her ground, she had to cast herself aside. Even when Jiang Zixue was brought back to Huaxia, Zualangyue only met her once in order to avoid some unnecessary quarrels. She handed Jiang Zixue over to Su Yun because if she brought Jiang Zixue with her, she wouldn't be able to explain anything. In that case, she would officially be meddling in this matter. In that case, the 6 great clans would be able to annoy her with a war of words. As long as Zualangyue didn't admit it and didn't make things so obvious, the 6 great clans would be very careful in everything they did. Zualangyue could only do this to help Jiang Zixue. Until now, Jiang Zixue hadn't really been exposed in front of the 6 great clans because of Zualangyue. After the appearance of the 5 war gods and Jiang Zixue's disappearance, all of these indicated that Zualangyue was involved in this matter. However, indications were only indications. Without absolute evidence, no one could prove anything. If Jiang Zixue didn't get rid of her, the mission of the 6 great clans to eliminate the root of the problem would be tantamount to meaningless. Therefore, to cut the weeds and dig up the roots, one had to completely cut the weeds and dig up the roots completely. Jiang Zixue was the root. If not the intervention of Zualangyue and the appearance of the 5 gods of war, it was believed that all the members of the 6 major clans would be willing to stand out to be the one to cut the weeds and dig out the roots. Because only those who cut the weeds and dig out the roots would gain more respect. However, Zualangyue had intervened. Although no one had pointed it out, who would be willing to take the risk to provoke the Empress? In the end, the plan to eliminate the root of the problem was reduced to drawing lots. Unfortunately, the Tao family's luck was too good, and they managed to grab hold of such a good opportunity. Obviously, whether to eliminate the source of trouble or not would still determine which of the 6 major clans would have a higher status and whose status would not be easily shaken by others. However, danger also coexisted. No one knew the consequences, and no one knew what they would have to face. In the end, the Tao family didn't let the man come out because they knew in their hearts that this kind of thing still needed a woman to do it. Because a woman's heart was more meticulous, and more importantly, if something happened, the Tao family would lose a woman, not a man. This point was very important for a major clan that valued males over females. It was imaginable how complicated Tao Inan's feelings were when she came out to do this. She didn't even know if the people in her clan valued her or if they only treated her as a chess piece that could be abandoned. With so many emotions, and with things not going smoothly, Tao Inan naturally wanted to explode. On the day of her 36th birthday, she was like a person who had been abandoned and forgotten by her clan. At this time, no one would stand by her side to help her. Everyone was thinking about the consequences if they offended Zhuo Langyue because of this matter. All kinds of emotions made this 36-year-old woman somewhat haggard. The moment she accepted this matter, she absent-mindedly felt that she was no longer the person who was described as forever young like a 20-year-old woman. Tao Inan's mind was in a mess. After coming to Huaxia, she had been very careful in everything, fearing that she would make a mistake if she did something wrong. Perhaps only she knew how terrible this feeling was. The two men just now had followed her for many years. She had always been nice to them. It could be said that she had hardly lost her temper with them. But this time, she couldn't control her emotions at all. She couldn't control the volcanic anger at all. These two men were the only men who could help her in Huaxia. If it weren't for the fact that she couldn't control her emotions, she wouldn't easily lose her temper with them. Now Tao Inan, who had calmed down, regretted it a little. Anyway, without these two men's efforts, she couldn't even know that Jiang Zixue had been to Qingdao. Although she had lost the clue, it wouldn't be difficult for her to regain the initiative if she could deal with the matter more simply. Thinking of this, Tao Inan shook her head helplessly. If the only two men who could help her left also stayed away from her because of her hatred, she would be really isolated and helpless. The red wine in the glass seemed to have completely lost its effect on her at this moment. No matter how many glasses she drank, she couldn't relieve the depression in her heart. The two men who left Tao Inan were also a little depressed. The Tao family was clearly their main family. For so many years, they had never complained about working for the Tao family, and the Tao family had never mistreated them either. In the final encirclement of the Jiang family, they were the first to bear the brunt and work together to defeat the Jiang family's last resistance. Even after the 5 war gods intervened, they didn't flee. For this, they both suffered different degrees of internal injuries. One of them was called Tao Ruhu, and the other was called Tao Tianyi. They had been taken in by the Tao clan when they were in dire straits, so the Tao clan had saved their lives. Thus, they were given new identities and new names. No matter where they were, their strength would definitely be at the top. They both had the strength of a level 8 or even a level 9 martial scholar. No one knew about their past, and no one knew what their previous identities were. Perhaps only the Tao family knew. It was just that they had been working for the Tao family for more than 10 years. They were the absolute core talents that the Tao family had left behind to expand their strength. On the first day they entered the Tao family, they were very clear that the 7-star radiance had already been broken. They were left behind to fight against the Jiang family. Moreover, these 6 great families were constantly increasing their strength, and everyone was scheming against each other. Before they were able to get rid of the Jiang clan, they had already started to plan for their own future. After getting rid of the Jiang clan, how to ensure their own clan status was a problem that the other 6 clans had been considering for many years. If they hadn't been thinking about this problem, they would have already made a move against the Jiang family 10 years ago. Why did they wait so bitterly until now? It was because they were all increasing their strength and making plans for after eliminating the Jiang family. Only when all the 6 great families felt that it was about time would the elimination of the Jiang family truly begin. It was also at that time that the new scheming of the 6 great families officially began. All of them were the capital of the Tao family. They were all preparations for the Tao family to get the biggest share of the pie among the 6 great families. They were all clear about this. A life-saving grace was enough for them to wholeheartedly repay the Tao family and do everything that the Tao family asked them to do. Chapter 2591. Tao Ruhu was still very concerned about the kick that Tao Inan gave him just now. He couldn't accept such treatment. In Huaxia, he could be said to be the person who contributed the most to the Tao family. He was the one who installed the GPS device in Jiang Zishue's car, and he was also the one who planned to follow her. However, none of them could predict that they would be exposed. When they did this, they were already prepared for the worst. Furthermore, he had already explained the existence of this possibility to Tao Inan very clearly. Furthermore, they didn't dare to act blindly without thinking. They were afraid that they would accidentally expose their identities. Once that happened, even if they could solve Jiang Zishue's problem, Zhuolangyue's problem would follow closely. They had to find Jiang Zishue in a city with a population of nearly 10 million without Zhuolangyue noticing that the matter had something to do with the Tao family without anyone noticing or Zhuolangyue noticing. Tao Inan was very clear about how difficult this was. Canada only had a population of 35 million. The 6 great families took some time to find the Jiang family, let alone find a person in a city with a population of 10 million. Everyone was well aware of the difficulty, so it was necessary to give them more time. They also hoped that they could be more careful. No one wanted to be instantly killed by the Empress who suddenly appeared, right? It was true that Tao Ruhu and Tao Qiani worked for the Tao family. However, they worked for the sake of their own interests. However, there was a serious change in the current situation, and their safety was seriously threatened. The moment the 5 war gods appeared in Canada, the 2 of them knew that they were about to fall into a dangerous situation. However, because of the kindness that the Tao family had shown them, they still resolutely stood on the side of the Tao family. Even if such a dangerous task was thrown at them, they didn't refuse. However, just now, they were actually scolded as trash. Trash? If it weren't for these 2 trash, even if Tao Inan came to Huaxia, she wouldn't even know where to go. Ruhu, there are some things that you don't have to care too much about. Tao Qiani said, we are servants, and servants are like this. If the master is in a good mood, our lives will be good. If the master is in a bad mood, we will suffer. Tao Ruhu snorted. That's right. What else can we do other than endure? Miss Tao's temper is indeed bad. Tao Qiani was also helpless about this. After all, his face had also been slapped. It's not just bad. Once she goes crazy, she's simply unreasonable. Tao Ruhu said. What does the failure of tracking have to do with us? Tao Qiani took out a cigarette and lit it. It didn't matter, but who else could Tao Inan vent her anger on other than the 2 of them? Jiang Zishue fled to Huaxia alone, so she will definitely be very careful. It's normal for her to be vigilant, Tao Ruhu said. Moreover, she has the help of the Empress. What can we do? Forget it, let's not talk about this anymore, Tao Qiani said. Let's think of another way. Tao Ruhu angrily punched the wall. The 2 of us risked our lives for the Tao family. Even if we owe them a favor, we should have repaid it by now, right? That's for sure, Tao Qiani said. He also felt that this favor had been repaid. Now that we are still working for the Tao family, shouldn't they treat us as one of their own? Tao Ruhu said. I don't mind being a servant, but I don't have any dignity now. Dignity? From the moment they started working for the Tao family, dignity seemed to be something they didn't need anymore. The more Tao Ruhu spoke, the angrier he felt. Just now, when we went to her room to talk about this matter, she actually wanted us to kneel down. A man's knees were gold. People who could endure such humiliation had very strong endurance. Tao Ruhu and Tao Qiani had endured kneeling down just now, so it was normal for them to explode at this moment. Brother, you should at least give me a reason. Give me a reason that will make me willing. Tao Ruhu let out a long sigh. The 2 of us have followed her for so many years, and she actually treated us like this. Miss Tao also has her difficulties. After all, the pressure is on her now. Tao Qianni still wanted to try his best to make them relax. After all, this was a mission. A mission that they had to complete. No matter what, they couldn't just leave Tao Yinan alone in Huaxia. If they did that, their ending wouldn't be any better. If they gave up on this matter, the Tao family wouldn't let them go. With the current power of the Tao family and the power of the other families, the two of them would be found even if they fled to the ends of the earth for betrayal. This was something that couldn't be helped. No matter what, they had to face it. Instead of doing things with a heavy heart, it was better to see through everything. After the two of them returned to their rooms, they lay on the bed. They had no idea what they were going to do next. The only clue they could find now was the Sky Entertainment Movie Hotel. However, this place was half open. Not everyone could stay there if they wanted to. Just by looking at the surveillance outside the hotel, one could imagine how difficult it was inside. Think of a way, Tao Ruhu said. I don't want her to point at our noses and call us trash again. Tao Qianni smiled helplessly. If there really was a way, we wouldn't have been scolded so badly today. Let's take one step at a time. I've already arranged for people to keep an eye on the movie hotel. That's our only entry point. Tao Ruhu closed his eyes. He didn't want to think about anything now. However, just 10 minutes after they returned to their rooms, there was a knock on the door. Tao Qianni was startled. He got up to open the door, but Tao Yinan was standing at the door. Miss Tao, you are? Tao Qianni was indeed a little surprised. This was the first time Tao Yinan took the initiative to knock on their door. Usually, if there was something, she would call them directly. Tao Ruhu also sat up when he heard the voice. He quickly walked over and respectfully greeted Miss Tao. Just now, he complained and was angry. However, right now, he still didn't dare to show any dissatisfaction in front of her. Please come in. Tao Qianni gradually came back to his senses. Tao Yinan shook her head. No need. I just came to apologize to you. I really went too far just now. My emotions were a little out of control. You too. Don't mind. Apologizing to her subordinates was unprecedented for Tao Yinan, but she still did it. Tao Qianni and Tao Ruhu almost suspected that they were dreaming. How was this possible? I know that you have already done your best, but I still lost my temper. It's my fault. Tao Yinan said, I really regret it just now. Really? Miss Tao, it's not your fault. We really didn't do our job well. Tao Qianni said, we definitely won't let you down again. Tao Yinan shook her head. Don't blame yourselves. If you do, I'll be even sadder. Miss Tao. Tao Ruhu wanted to say something, but he hesitated. I'm sorry just now. Don't say anything. Tao Yinan said, let's go. I'll treat you two to a meal. What do you want to eat? Tao Ruhu and Tao Qianni's faces were full of flattery. This was simply too unrealistic. They were completely confused. Miss Tao, let's not. Tao Qianni couldn't even think of a reason to refuse. Today is my birthday. Just take it as me begging you. Spend my birthday with me, Tao Yinan said. Only then did the two quickly agree. Although they were really flattered, for them, it was indeed a good way to relieve their anger and frustration just now. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.